What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Beast Coast Grower 420, and we back with another live stream going in today on yield and going in today on environment. We're also going to touch on a whole bunch of different subjects, but y'all already know the routine. As you come in, go ahead and drop a like, go ahead and drop a comment. Y'all already know. And let me know about the quality. I want to see what's up with the quality on this one.
Yes, sir. This quality 4K looking good.
Yeah, hell yeah. Damn, for some reason it's there we go. There we go. Now I'm showing it. Yeah, that looks great. That looks great. Oh, it's dope. Every time you talk, it pops up. Every time I talk, it pops up. That's dope. Yo,
Yep.
No Limit, what's good, man?
What's up, No Limit?
Yeah, I got the YouTube up, so if I see any questions, I'll definitely deal with the YouTube for us.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna put the YouTube up in 1 second after this match. I got my iPad next to me.
Yeah, take your time. It look good, No Limit? I decided to go with my phone this time to see if I can get a nice video in 4K for you. You guys make sure as you come in, drop a like, drop a comment, share the stream. Y'all know the routine. Share it over to Instagram, get some people involved in the conversation. Make sure that you guys subscribe to all of my moderators. Make sure that you guys go and follow us over on Instagram. No matter what the page is, you guys make sure that y'all get over there. You already know. We'll give people a few minutes to come in, and then we'll get started. We're gonna have a great talk tonight, man. We actually had to stop a conversation prior to going live on here because we was getting ready to start going in, but we wanted y'all to be able to get this info as well. But we was about to go in, I promise you.
Man, for real.
Yeah, we was about to go in. But we still gonna go in. We just gonna have the people involved in this conversation. That's it. Sorry, you guys. I'm just trying to adjust this to be able to get you guys the best view possible. Boom. Boom. Get this boom.
Yeah, man. It's looking good, man. I like that.
Yeah, it keeps going out of focus, man.
That nug too loud, man. Noise, vibration, mess up visual effects.
Yeah, this is some of the wedding cake that I believe I finished like last round. I just found it. I'm not even the biggest fan of wedding cake, but this one turned out dope.
Man, I'm telling you, it's always better when you grow it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's always better when you grow it. I'm sorry.
Oh shit, yo, we about to bring Frosty McNasty in the building.
Oh, Frosty in the building. AKA
go.
Mr. Doors.
Yeah, Mr. Doors.
Mr. Doors. Boy, I saw him open up another one today. Boy, that breeding chamber is looking mighty healthy. That male, boy, that 33 minutes, boy. Ooh.
Frosty be getting to it.
Frosty need to let me come over there and tend to those apple fritters for him. Cut me a little clone off one of those now. Them apple fritters looking mighty healthy, boy.
That's a fact.
I'm trying to tell you, boy, that's one of my favorite smokes, man. I had that on my birthday this year in February. Oh my, whew, delicious. Told myself I got to get that cut. Yeah, boy. And people was talking mad shit about it, bro. I was like, why? That shit is fire. I'm like, it just depends on the cut that you get, man. And
that's all. Breeder. That's all it comes down to.
That's it. Just like what me and you was just talking about. Like, if I get F1s, you get an F1, and you take it to F3, and I take it to F2. Who really, you know what I'm saying? Who really did it? You know what I'm saying? Yours could be more gas, mine could be more fruit. So who really, you know what I'm saying, took it to the next level? But like you said, both, and that's real. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the same thing.
Yo, No Limit. Yeah, this is Loki's cut of wedding cake.
Oh, okay. Then you already know that's fire.
Yeah, this is
even say nothing. That's all
And
you had
again,
to say, low key.
I'm not even the biggest fan of wedding cake. I just happen to come
Me
across this.
neither,
I'm like, you
King.
know what?
Me neither.
This might look good.
Yeah, because they hyped it up so much, and then when you got it, it was so finicky, bro. It's like shit be finicky. You don't be
Yeah,
wanting to do what you wanted to do, and it's like whatever they got going on over there, yeah, because they played with it for a while. We
yeah,
just now getting it. Now we have to play with it, dial that shit in.
yes. And when
Oh,
she's
this
hurt,
don't look like
she
it,
is
man. This ain't like it.
hurt. Like some
Yeah, yeah,
strains could
she's
get
hurt.
hurt and push right through it. When wedding cake is hurt, that bitch is hurt. It's just like
And
my
you
Polly
see
Shore.
every little
Like,
trait.
yeah,
Right.
Polly Shore get hurt one time, it's a wrap, bro. It's over. She might not never recover. Like,
Oh man, low key. I mean, not low key, but uh, who are we talking about? Frosty talked about that. That's why I
yeah,
told you, yeah, I definitely need that when that's coming. I got to have that on the deck.
yeah. Of course, you know I got it for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's crazy though. But yeah,
Hold on
it's
one
crazy
second.
how plants. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to get my headphones going. What up, everybody? What up? Thank you for all the thumbs up as you coming in. We definitely about to get into some real talk conversations today because I feel like when a lot of these conversations are being had, there's so much information getting left out of them. So some people are lost just assuming one thing because they're just giving you basic information on certain situations. And I feel like a lot of these situations need in-depth talks about them. Like I don't want y'all thinking like it's just end all be all because one person said something that's just it because they might have left something out. And a lot of times they do
Exactly.
leave stuff out, like especially when we talking about yield. When we talking about yield, there's so much getting left out of the conversation. I think we got Frosty coming in now. Yo, yo.
Frosty.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear
What's
you
up,
now, man.
Frost? Mr. Doors.
What's up
Mr.
with it?
Doors himself got him in the building.
I'm trying to let me see something real quick.
Yep, go ahead, get your joint set up. Yeah, I'm hoping the video quality really comes in nice this time. I should have been using my phone. I just didn't want to deal with stupid shit like if it's not charged or if it start ringing or some shit. I ain't want to go through all that.
You hear
Oh
me?
my God.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Alright. What's
Yep.
going on? What's going on?
We all right, man. How your night going so far?
Oh shit, good. You know, just keeping shit moving.
That's what I like to hear, man. So yeah, tonight we're gonna go in on yield, we're gonna go in on environment, we're gonna go in on some breeding. So it's good that we got two different breeders in the building. That's gonna come out nice. We're gonna go over some strains. We're gonna talk about a couple of different things.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
Hell yeah. Oh, okay, so we'll start with you then, Frosty. What do you think will determine what's going to give you your biggest yield? What are some of the biggest factors that you feel like are going to determine what gives you the nicest, biggest yields that you could get? And then 813 will go to you and I'll answer last.
Okay.
Man, that's like a loaded question, man.
Oh man.
That's why I
Make it a
asked you
two
first.
part.
That's loaded, man.
Yeah.
Biggest yield. Biggest yield basically strain though. You know, your strain is gonna be the
Thank you.
biggest. That's gonna be what determines the yield, man. Because
Thank you.
I didn't have multiple strains in the same room, same conditions, everything good, but it's all about that strain. This one gonna stack more, that one gonna stack less. You know what I'm saying? I done
That's
seen
a
shit
fact.
Correct.
naturally grow 16, 20 tops. You ain't even
Yep.
touch it. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And any other shit, you gotta manipulate it and take longer. So, like remember how GML used to do, like keep on pinching, moving the tops, manipulating them, waiting for everything to catch up, and then
Yep.
finally
Yeah.
flowering. And that took what, 2 months to get it like that?
Yep, because he was grown in like 20-gallon pots too.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy, right? That's a lot of shit. So just to fill that pot out, you taking hella long.
Exactly. But I
So
think he was dealing with plant counts. So, medical up in Canada at the time, it
gotcha.
was based on plant count. So he had to veg a little bit longer than per se somebody who could just load it up with a whole bunch of different, with a whole bunch more.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that
But
makes
yeah,
sense.
I agree 100% that is based on genetics because every genetic isn't gonna produce the same as everything else.
And we should I don't know, like a friend of mine told me a long time ago, like you shouldn't even be focused on yield. You should be focused on quality
Quality.
and just
Talk
letting
about it.
that and just letting that determine how your yields are gonna be in the future. Like when you get that top quality, you got it. Okay, now I need to run twice as many plants to get the yield I want?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all
Makes a
on the
lot of
plants,
sense.
man. And like in this world, we always want new flavors. So we ain't gonna never really be able to dial in a yield per se until we
Yep.
grow that motherfucker 2-3 times.
Yep.
Hey, Frosty, let me ask you a question.
What's
Semi
good?
on top. When I was listening to your last live, um, you were talking about you wanted to create your own hype, and I know that you're running a lot of strands in
Woo!
there, and you're using the male. Now, while creating your own hype, in which that all breeders should be doing, anybody listening, that's what you should be doing. You shouldn't just be breeding to breed. You should be breeding to bring something to the table. Now, what are you looking to bring to the table? Something new, a flavor that you're missing, or a terpene profile that you're looking for, or are you just trying to just see what fire you could come up with, then go from there?
It's so many, it's so many strains out there
Good
that
question.
you will love so many strains. So
Mm-hmm.
to
Correct.
fall in love with one is almost impossible, I think, in this day and age.
Yes.
So what I'm looking for is my top five.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm
love
looking
that
for
answer.
my top five. Like I don't smoke as much as I used to, but when I do
Mm-hmm.
smoke, I want to smack my lips. I want to move my tongue around my teeth. I want that
Mm-hmm.
shit. I want to taste that flavor. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I'm looking for those. I'm looking for some specific things that I don't want to talk about yet, but when I find it, I'll let you know exactly what it is. But
Yep.
I'm looking for like five flavors, not just one.
Yeah, and this also goes back to copycat genetics because he always says that people's main issue with like breeding and shit is they fall in love with plants, and you can't fall in love with the plants because you're gonna have to get rid of a whole bunch of them. So you can't afford to be falling in love with them. You have to find the one that works for you. You got to find the best of the best, the creme de la creme. Like if I just fell in
Correct.
love with this strain and I pop a bunch of seeds of it, then I'm not going to get rid of none of them. I'm going to have issues because I already love this strain, and all of them are going to have somewhat similar terpenes. So how do I know which one to kill off? I might have a problem actually killing any of them off because I done fell in love with the damn plants. No, I'm in this to find the one that I'm looking for, the specific one that caters to my specificity and and get that one going.
Yeah, but
Correct.
it got to touch the people too, though.
Yeah,
Like
definite,
like
definite.
each of these five I'm looking for 3 or 4 or 5 different people from different regions of America to like it also.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Right.
say if you up there, I give this one strain to you, I give this one strain to A1, I give another strain to my boy down south, and then give another one up to somebody to Washington, and y'all all like it, then I can mark that off the board as one that I'm keeping because
That's the
Correct.
winner.
it's touching every region. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Right.
Yep.
I might not find it. That's the thing about breeding. You might not find it,
Yep.
but you got to keep on going. You know what I mean? It's out there. It's for sure out there, and I got a good feeling I'm gonna find it because I'm a manifester. I know I am. There's too much shit that I
Mm-hmm.
manifested already, so I know I'm about to find what I'm looking for.
You got to talk it into existence.
Yeah, you do,
And
man. You
and
really
and
do.
we see it, man. We
Yep.
see
Yeah.
it, bro.
I
I'm
think
telling
that
you, man.
well 813. Now I can ask you. What are
Right.
some of the biggest factors that you feel like is gonna play the biggest role when it comes to like yielding big? And then I got some
Uh,
other questions that's gonna follow along with this, and it's gonna make sense afterwards. But we'll just start here.
yeah, right.
I'm still listening. I'm
What
still listening. I gotta shut the video off for a minute, but I'm still here.
No, you good. Go
got you.
ahead.
What plays a factor for me, environment and the strain. You can, if you're growing something that's tropical and you have it in dry heat and you're not keeping up with it, you're not going to yield anything you're supposed to. You're not
Mm-hmm.
even going to get close to what you're supposed to yield.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the environment and the genetics that you're working with
Mm-hmm.
plays a big factor and then also the grower. So those are my top three. Those plays
Oh.
the big fact because as we say, somebody could say, oh, I got this from this guy and it did this and did this, but you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you could have got a batch of seeds that was fresher than the batch that I got. Or
Mm-hmm.
you could have got a cut that was more healthier than the cut that I got. Or I got
Mm-hmm.
the cut third hand versus you got the cut first hand. So, and how do you feel about genetics? Do you believe they die out after you keep cloning them for a while?
Not as long as you keep a healthy mother. To me, as long as you
There
could
you
keep a
go.
healthy mother and you keep on resetting that mother and you could keep her in prime condition, I feel like that strain could last. We wouldn't have SFVOG today if that wasn't true. We wouldn't have
Right.
Scott's OG today. We wouldn't have Chem Dog today. We wouldn't have Sour
Oh,
Diesel today.
Scott's
We wouldn't.
OG.
The,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
see what I mean? There's a lot of strains that we wouldn't have today if genetic drift was actually a thing. You just have to keep the mom healthy and keep on resetting her and making sure that you taking healthy cuts each time. And I don't think that the strain is going to degrade at all. That's just my opinion. Now my biggest thing when it comes to yield is pretty much the same thing you guys said. It's going to be the genetics along with environment. Because imagine you got a big yielding strain, but your environment ain't under control. It's too hot. You're going to wind up with fluffier buds than you would somebody who got bigger, denser buds, so they got a bigger yield. They got a
Right.
bigger yield because the buds were denser than yours. You got a lower yield because your buds were fluffier than theirs, even though y'all running the exact same cut. So I
Exact.
think
And it could be the
environment,
exact same size, but you're just fluffed out versus
exactly.
being tight. Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like these are factors that aren't spoken about when people talk about yield. They just like to throw out numbers like, yo, I got this out of this. I got this out of this. And if you do this, you can get this out of this. That's not a guarantee. If your environment isn't under control, if you keep on letting the plants dry back too many times, like if you in mid flower week 3, 4, or 5, and your plants are continuously drying out and wilting, I promise you, you just cut your harvest almost by a quarter of what you could have got. So you might only be getting 75% of what you actually could have got if you'd have kept them 100% happy throughout the whole thing. So there's so many factors that go along with it, and spacing. Spacing is another thing to me that plays a big role, because if somebody has, let's say somebody got 20 lights in a room, they're getting so much side lighting and cross lighting from all of the other lights that they aren't actually basing it off of per light. You can say I got this per light, but you didn't actually get this per light because there's so much cross lighting happening between all of the lights that you have that you actually yielded bigger than somebody who only had two. So if you're running 20 lights and somebody else is running two, you might harvest a lot more per light than the person with the two lights because they're
That's
getting
true.
so much extra light than what I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? So if Frosty got a 10 light room and I got a 2 light room, he's getting tons more light to each one of his plants. Like the sides of his plants are getting more lights than the sides of my plants. I think that plays a big role, and that's never spoken about. It also 4x4 spaces versus 5x5 spaces versus 6x6 spaces, because you can only pack so much into a 4x4. You can only pack so much into a 5x5. So to say, yo, I got this per light, but you didn't even tell us, were they in 4x4 trays? Were they in 5x5s? How much space did your canopy take up? These are all things that play a role in the big numbers when it comes to me.
Yeah, that's like a lot of side light. You might as well call that 4x4 with side light.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you're going to get something different than somebody else who ran a 4x4 without no side lighting,
Yeah.
Correct.
because their
Correct.
bottom buds were able to develop when your bottom buds weren't able to develop.
I noticed that I didn't do it this run, but one of the runs I did 48 plants in my space, and actually pulled good numbers. And it was like, it was kind of better because there's less plants. I could maneuver around. I could do my stripping. I could do whatever I need to do. But the plant is liking it and yielding more because it's getting all that more lighting from the tops, from the sides. You know what I mean? From reflecting off the floor, from everywhere, just because it has space to get airflow completely around it. So the airflow thing is not just air moving, it's flow that the light can actually see where it's going instead of
Yep.
just hitting leaves at the top, you know what I mean? And nothing getting on the
Yes.
bottom. This way it's getting all around your plant. So it's actually better. After this yield, I'll see what it is. And I might go back to 48 because like I said, it was easier to manage, and it's a lot of light in there that's touching everything.
Yep. And you run CO2, right, Frosty?
Yeah, in that room I do.
Yep. How important is CO2 when it comes to yielding?
I can't say. I don't want to lie to you and say it is or it isn't, because I did great yields in the other room in the back without any CO2.
Yeah, see, that's
really
why
don't
I'm
know.
glad to have somebody like you in here that just keeps it real, and you just telling the raw and honest truth. That
I don't want to sell people. I don't want to sell people dreams that they got to go buy all this shit and have all these burners and machines. I made a post before on Instagram, like, what are the grow guys thinking about these plants surrounded by all these fucking machines? Like, that's
true.
crazy.
So much machinery and robots in the room next to these plants, and they never needed this. They were here before humans, and they never needed any of this.
But like like he was saying, Frosty, in that back room, you were in there quite a few times, right? So you was breathing CO2 in there too.
I'm not in there that long.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm telling you, plants are going to do. See, most people don't realize that outdoors they're usually getting 400 ppm of CO2.
I'm never the one to sit in the room and just like singing to my plants and playing around with them and all that stuff. I kind of like leaving them alone, checking on them, making sure they're cool, and then y'all keep on doing your thing, man. I'm out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not one for that. It's other stuff.
I get the work done and then I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Get done what I need to. Pull a couple of leaves if it need be, if something's covering a couple of tops, and then I'm up out of there to let the plants do what the plants are gonna do.
Even if you're in there for 30 minutes, say you're in there for 30 minutes, you raise the CO2 about what, 200 to 300 ppm. Then when you leave, what? It dropped back down.
Yeah,
that's not helping. Let's just be honest. That's not helping or hurting. It's not doing nothing.
It's not doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So like the CO2 in this room is there because I got the machine, and it's like, let me just make sure I keep using it because it's been working. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But like I said, for the back room, I never used it. Just
And if you live in an area that is like closer to the city, you're going to get more ppms of CO2 than somebody who lives like up in the mountains where there's nobody near them, because there's just more people breathing more CO2 into that area. So the ppms are naturally going to be higher for somebody who lives in a more populated area than somebody who doesn't. I like CO2. I think CO2 does play a decent part in yield. But I don't think it's the end all be all. I think you can still hit great numbers without CO2.
Yeah, you know what really gives plant CO2 on the outside? Cars.
Yep.
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 You ever see all those bushes on the side of the freeway? All those big, beautiful bushes on the side of the freeway and shit? Like
beautiful,
cars,
healthy plants.
Giving them a lot of CO2. I think if you're giving your plants a lot of CO2, like 1500s and above, you're gonna see some difference. But if you like maintaining a 900, that's like not really doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think you're doing nothing.
What I do is I double what ambient would normally be. So like, let's say ambient CO2 is 450, 500. I'll run 1,000 to 1,100. Because they said that there's a point to where the plants don't even eat the CO2 no more, because just naturally they're not used to intaking that amount of CO2. So they're only going to take in so much at a time. And I feel like it's wasteful to just keep on giving them a bunch and they're not even taking it all.
Well, they'll take more if you got your if your temperatures are higher.
There you go. Another factor that plays in. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
run warmer temperature for the pots to be able to dry out faster, for them to use the CO2, to drink enough water for you to see the difference.
All these factors, man.
Yes, this
It's
is
like
all
it's
the
like
stuff
an
that
endless
gets left
amount of
out.
factors for somebody to say you should get this amount per light.
Exactly.
No, you should just shut up. You should just
There
keep
you
doing your thing, explain what you're doing, and that's cool. That's all fine and dandy. But to say someone else should be reaching these numbers, they need to adjust something. It's like, okay, maybe they do, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have that strain.
They learning
there we
right now.
go. Because somebody
Yeah.
who's doing a whole room of Blue Dream, there of course, if you get some
Oh, they
massive
gonna hit
yield,
something.
They gonna
yeah,
they gonna hit numbers.
They gonna hit. They gonna hit
they gonna hit
numbers.
numbers. You doing mimosa, you gonna hit some numbers. Mimosa is a
Numbers.
big yielder.
Wedding cake is big yielder too, ain't it?
Yeah, wedding cake did great for me. Did
Yeah.
absolutely great. You know what's weird? That the buds don't really get that big on the wedding cake. They're just so dense and there's so many of them that
Yeah.
after
Yeah,
you're
that's
done
that's
trimming,
that
you're like, "Damn, this
Wi-Fi.
shit's so
I
They
filled
like
hooked
up
up
with
to
that.
that
all."
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I
You said
like plants
Wi-Fi?
like that.
Oh, 813, you said Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it's TK crossed with
No, I
Wi-Fi
know what you're
43.
talking about. That's one of my favorite OGs. I love
Yeah.
the Wi-Fi.
Well, listen, I got you on this. I got Wi-Fi connection, which is Wi-Fi crossed with Wi-Fi is yours.
That, bro, I think that's what the Face on Fire F2s are that I'm running. No,
Well, I
that's
got
Wi-Fi cross with the Face Off OG. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
but it's a Wi-Fi cross. I love
I
I
got
love
you.
OGs. Period. I don't
Oh
really
yeah,
care which
I
OG
love
it is. If
OGs.
it's gassy, I love it.
It's a lot of OGs that ain't gassy out there.
Yes, sir.
See,
It's
I
some
never run into those, and I don't even consider them OGs because I'm so used to smoking the gassy OGs. If I get some OG that's not gassy, I'll be like, they lied to me. This ain't OG. Yeah,
yeah, for real, man. The game is a big lie, man.
it
Yeah.
is.
It's a lot of liars on every level of this shit. On every
Yep.
Yeah.
single level, it's just liar after liar. So you really
When
gotta
they
be,
can't when they can't
man.
get sorry to cut you off, Russ. When they can't get rid of shit, they rename that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's been happening since the beginning of times, man.
Yep.
And that was another thing I was saying about the breeders the other day. Like, we ain't gonna act like this new generation is the only people that are breeding with the same shit and renaming shit the same. That this been happening for so long. Where do you think they learned the method from? Th-
exactly.
th- This has been going on a really, really long time. So Frosty, let me ask you, uh,
What's up?
what temperatures and humidities do you like running in your garden? Like, if you could have the perfect setting for each one of your rooms, what's the perfect parameters for you?
8260.
8260, beautiful.
Yeah,
So you follow the VPD chart?
that's not following it. That'd be like VPD would be like 8275.
Okay. But
Yeah,
8260 just works great for you. That's where you feel is the most
it worked.
comfortable.
It
That's what
worked
you
for
like.
me. It worked for me taking my ass up in there and being comfortable.
Yeah,
I can't think about them all the time, man. I'd be like, man, if when that shit hits 70 and above, whoo, it's nasty.
it's nasty.
It's
And
nasty, man.
if you
They
got
might
hair,
like
forget
it, but I
about it.
don't like
If you got hair, forget about it. I'll be
it. Man,
stressed with them hot ass
65 is
temperatures.
about where I stop. 65 humidity,
Yeah.
like 82,
Yeah.
60 to 65, that's perfect.
Perfect. I ain't gonna lie. You also that's another factor that I think people need to play. I understand the VPD chart. I understand you guys want to be so dialed into these technical things, but you got to work in there. Like, you also got to make it a comfortable enough environment for you to want to be in there and do the work. Because if it's super hot and super humid, you don't want to be in there. You don't never
So
want to be in
don't.
there. Like, you regret it every time you know you got to get ready to go in your room, and you don't want that feeling.
For real.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people follow on the VPD chart, though. I think that's lies.
That's a fact.
I
You know
think that's
how
just
hard
lies.
it is to keep up with the VPD chart. You need dehumidifiers, humidifiers. You need things that are just not in people's grow rooms.
You need
And
your
it's
own
really
power
just you
plant.
don't want to be in there with that shit. You don't want to be
Hell
in there
no.
with VPD unless the VPD is at 78. If your VPD is at 75 degrees
Yes.
Fahrenheit, then you're fine. Because then
Yep.
your humidity is at 62, 65. Then that's
Yep.
fine. But if you're getting hot and sticky, talking about 84 and 75, man, you're not gonna want to be in there. So
Nope.
nah, you're not
Yo,
gonna want to be
Frosty,
in
one more quick question, and then I'll ask 813 the same thing. Do you know what your leaf temperature surfaces?
Nah. I've
Me
been
neither.
meaning to get a like a thermometer or something, but
Yeah,
I
the
just
the
don't see
gun.
myself spending the money on another fucking gadget that
Um,
the plants is telling me they fine. I'm gonna just listen to the plants, man.
there you go. Thank
I
you.
don't need to keep
That's the
buying
reason I
shit.
asked you. Yeah, that's the reason I asked you. Now 813. What is
Yes,
because I know you run you do basically no till, right? No, you do
correct.
like a super soil mix kind of with cocoa though, right?
Right. But my
Okay.
end product being no-till.
Okay. So you do reuse that afterwards.
Yes, yes. My
Oh,
when I put it in its final pot, it's a no-till that I reuse fabric pot.
'Kay.
813, real quick.
Yes, Ken.
Where's your content?
Content of my stuff.
Yeah, are you staying low or what?
No, I was, but now I'm building everything back up because I was in Cali doing my thing, and then I came home and it wasn't fully legal, and you got people that run their mouth too much. So,
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I totally understand.
but you know what I'm saying. So we weeded them out. So I'm doing my thing now. I'm building back up my content, Ken.
Yeah, we need you with a
Running back
YouTube
up.
channel, bro.
Yes, sir. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You can see
what
some of
what
my latest earliest work on there.
yeah. So what is the what's the temperatures and humidities that you feel the most comfortable with running in your garden?
Me, the same. Like I like I like running around 60, 80. I like to keep it a little tropical, a little 75 sometimes. You
Okay.
know, I like that's what I
What's the
like.
lowest temperatures you'll accept in your garden?
Lowest 60. I don't want to go no lower than 60.
What's
60
that?
Plants
degrees,
though.
The end of
Yeah,
flower?
yeah. And then the flower.
Okay.
60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Correct.
That's low, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
said I
don't
don't
like
like to
that.
go no lower than that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I want to get my shit that low. Actually, I
yeah, I
really
want.
do.
That's what I mean. That's
Yo,
Yeah,
Frosty, what do you like running towards like the end of flower? Do you cool your room off towards the end of flower?
I taper it down to like 72 at the end.
Okay.
But honestly, I wish I had two. I wish I had two air conditioners in there
Mm-hmm.
so I could turn one on when lights go off to make it like 55 in there. I know
right.
that's gonna
Make it
sound
real
crazy, right?
cool.
That's
Nah,
gonna sound
explain, man.
crazy,
Go ahead.
but it's like I want to do like 55 at nighttime and 80 in the daytime. I'm trying to mimic the greenhouse, the first greenhouse I did, because that's what it got up to. It got to 80 in the day, and it dropped down to like 55 at night, and everything was frosty as fuck and hella colors and just like it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was crazy to
Now,
be
Because
there.
you're
Frosty, I'm gonna ask you a rhetorical question. I know the answer to this already, but I'm gonna ask you a rhetorical question. You're not worried about the more than 10 degrees temperature swing?
That's not normal. And what world do we live in where the temperature don't swing at different times of the day? That shit is
Hold up.
correct.
that's the
From day
stupidest
to
thing I ever
day.
heard. I'm
From
not
day
gonna
to
lie, that's the
day.
stupidest thing I ever heard. Why would you make your room stay the same exact temperature all throughout the time? Like throughout the whole 24 hours, no swing, no letting you know. That don't make sense to me, man.
Does that
Right.
happen outdoor where the temperature never swings, where every day is the exact same temperature, humidity,
Never.
everything?
How? The
Never.
sun is gone. The sun
And
disappears, right? Just like
yes,
your
Correct.
light disappears, right?
yes.
So it's only right that the temperature drops.
Boom.
That's sleep time. That's sleep time.
Yeah. And
I don't understand.
even humans like it a little bit cooler when we sleep.
Exactly.
Correct. I'm
Even
half
Exactly.
in.
we
I'm
as
half out.
humans like it a little bit cooler when
Yeah.
we sleep. It's more comfortable to sleep in cooler weather than it is in hot weather. So when they talking about they run 84 degrees during the daytime, are you telling me you run 80 degrees during the nighttime? You got heaters in your room year round?
The
Correct.
shit, the things I hear on some of these shows is it's like a waste of my time, really.
Facts,
It's like
because it's not.
I shouldn't be sitting here listening to this. I don't know what the hell they talking about.
Right.
It's like on a mission for experimentation. Like Like they purposefully go out of their way to experiment, and you're not getting no results from it. The results that you do get from it, it makes no sense. It's like, what did you do it for? You did it for nothing.
Exactly. I feel the same way you did. That's why I said I'm going to ask a rhetorical question, because we know in nature, every day's not the same. It might be 82 one day and then 74 the next day, but you're still getting 10, 20, 30-pound plants. Mendo Dope is getting plants that are bigger than their house with major temperature swings where the humidity might be 4% one day.
And the only reason that I believe that they say that though you're not supposed to let it swing, that's why indoor quality is better than outdoor. It looks better and stuff like that.
Man,
The only thing I could say to that is indoor quality looks better is because it's absolutely no dust rolling around in your room day to day.
Yep.
Like outdoors, you got bugs coming through, taking shits. Let's just be real. They taking shits on buds. They
okay.
they
Right.
fucking on them.
Yep.
Dust is
Right.
flying around. You got pollen flying around. You got all kind of outside effects to make the bag appeal look a little less better than indoor. But
Yep.
the way the nature swings itself, that should stay the same.
Now, Frosty, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. That shit you just found in your shed looks better than 95% of the indoor that I seen.
Yeah,
And
man.
you found that by accident, still hanging, been drying for I don't even know how, and it looked better than most people's indoor.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a fact.
it was this year's stuff. I just forgot
Of
about it.
course.
I had a lot of shit going on, so I just forgot where I put it, and I really
Oh, we
just
know,
wasn't thinking about
Doris.
it.
Bro, don't
We
make
know,
no
Mr. Doris.
excuses. It looked better than most people's indoor that they just finished yesterday.
No, for sure. I seen some. I was shopping today. You know what that mean. I was shopping and I had
Yep.
seen something, and they had some apple fritter, and I looked at it. I'm like, this PTR, bud. And he was like, what that
Of
mean? I
course.
was like, this shit is hard as a rock. It's no way
No
in hell this
smell, no
weed should be
flavor.
this hard. It had the smell,
Wow.
but I'm talking about it was so like rocky and nugget. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
looked just so different from mine. Then I showed him mine. He was like, that shit look hella good. And I was like, yeah, this ain't no PGR weed, bro.
No.
And the shit looked like kind of brown. It just didn't look good, man. So I understand when people say that they'll rather just wait on mine. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I
Bro,
understand. I
come on,
totally
look at
understand.
it, bro.
Because I hate
You
shopping,
show
bro.
the love.
I hate shopping.
Bro,
I just
I don't
don't see
see
it.
many people. I don't
Yeah, I
see many
feel you.
people that have the quality. Bro, that do and that peanut butter breath that you ran in that greenhouse, it ain't too many indoor growers that I've seen that had that kind of quality, even indoor. I'm talking
Even on
about
the
that shit
indoor, bro.
was
See, I
fresher.
don't know. And when I hear
Beautiful.
things like that, I don't know what the fuck they doing because I don't do too much of nothing, man.
That's the
They're not
issue, bro.
doing
They doing too
anything. They're
much of
not doing,
everything.
yeah, they're doing
They
too
Oh
much.
doing
They
yeah, I
gotta
see what
have
you're
this
saying. They doing too
salt.
much.
Too much, bro. They do too
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
they're
they doing
doing
too
way
much.
too much.
Keep it simple,
You know what I'm
stupid.
saying? Simple. There you
The
go.
kiss method.
That's it.
Yo, and what you doing the bare minimum, you I'm talking about you shocked us, bro, because this is your first year with the greenhouse and you crushed it. I'm talking
Murdered it.
about you had me questioning the shit I was doing indoor from your greenhouse, and it was your first year doing it. You were
Yeah, I did.
dialing it in as you were going, and it looked better than our rooms that were supposedly dialed in. But we had stagnant temperatures. We had 84 degrees, and we didn't want to let it swing 10 degrees. We wanted to stick to the VPD charts. We want to make sure that everything goes perfect. But nature never gives plants perfect circumstances.
Never. That's what
Never.
makes the plant produce more of the shit you want.
By
Make you
Right.
stress.
produce more frost, more trichomes, more of that type
Trichomes
of
is
stuff.
a result of a defense mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. So the
Yeah.
only way it's going to kick in its defense mechanism
Is
is
if
by
it
being in circumstances that are not perfect.
exactly.
That's the only way. Like you might go in your outdoors sometimes and you might see dead flies underneath your leaves that just got stuck to it and they can't move because the trichome done enveloped them and they're just stuck to the bottom of your leaf and you're like, what the fuck is this fly doing? And that's the plant's defense mechanism when it senses that there's a bug near it, but it also has variation in its temperatures.
Yeah.
It also got that variation. I've seen it plenty of times outdoor where a fly goes underneath or some kind of bug goes underneath the leaf and then it gets enveloped by the trichomes because they get an automatic heart attack the second that they touch that THC. But the only way that that's going to work is if they can produce enough of it. And they do that by having irregular temperature swings and having to react to it. It's almost like with humans when the going get tough, the tough get going. So the
Yeah.
more circumstances that you have to deal with, some of those people wind up with the best circumstances in the long run because they've been through the toughest time. So it's nothing for them to deal with something that's a little difficult. Everything in life been difficult for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that greenhouse you did was amazing, and I can't even imagine the temperature swings. You didn't make sure
30
that 30-degree temperature swings.
Yeah.
Woo!
So I'm saying it's cold as hell.
And we've been
When I came in under the tarp, I'm looking at 53, 54 degrees, 55. And then the sunlight, then as the sun comes around, it just heatens it up, 60, 70, end up about 85 degrees in there.
and we sitting here worried about 10 degrees.
Shouldn't be
Bro.
worried about that.
We're worried
It's
about
like
10
it automatically
degrees.
does about 10 degrees anyway. If your room is like, if you got your room set up, when the lights go off, you're gonna drop some degrees anyway. So
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that's just they use that 10-degree marker because that's just where it naturally goes. You see what I'm
exactly.
saying? They didn't make that shit up. It just naturally goes to about 10 degrees when you set your room up.
Now to get a 2-degree or 3-degree or 4-degree temperature swing, you're gonna need heaters and
Yep.
and ACs and humidifiers and dehumidifiers in your room. And I see that most of these growers that are talking about this 4-degree temperature swing, they don't have that. They got an AC and a dehu. Hopefully they got a dehu.
You better have a DU.
I ain't gonna lie, in my area, you don't need it.
So that's good then.
You absolutely don't. I've never used the dehu in my life.
The reason I need it is because I got a lot of leaf material.
Exactly. You got a bigger room than I see, and these play bigger factors because you
Yeah.
got a bigger room than I got. So you got a bigger level of humidity that the plants are releasing. So you have to accommodate for that. Now, I
Yep.
don't have as big a room as you have. So I don't have to deal with as much humidity being released from the plants as you have. So I didn't need it.
Exactly. You got to go with
813, do
what
you
your
got a
room is.
DU? His mic's muted. He gonna unmute it in a second. He
Yeah,
might have
and I
walked off
was
for a second.
remember last time we was talking about the tents versus the grow rooms.
Yeah.
I'm trying to map out this 20 by 23 I got, right? I'm trying to map it out, and I was telling you I wanted to do 3 tents.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I can't do it because you got to put humidifiers in every one of them tents.
Yep.
I mean, dehumidifiers in every one of them tents. The walls start sweating. Like I got a 4x4 in the garage right now, and it's like I got a space heater in there. I got a fucking a fan in there, space heater, and a dehumidifier in there.
Just
That's
to be able to
taking up
keep the
so much space.
temperatures where you
I'm
want
gonna
it.
upload that video tomorrow. I'm gonna upload a little video tomorrow. I didn't want to do 2 in one day, but you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just a little 4x4, and it's just too much. So building out the room, it's gonna be a lot too because I want separate rooms so I can get on a perpetual grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do, like with the every 35 days. You
Yep.
got something else. That's what I want to get started. But that's gonna I'm gonna need 2 mini split systems in there.
Yep.
I'm gonna need 2 dehumidifiers. So I'm gonna need 2 everything like that. So it's like why waste space with the 8x8 tents? I might as well build out so I can get 10x12s. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting next year.
Yep. And again, these are things that people aren't factoring in when they're going into these tents, because I remember when I did my first flower room in a tent, my tent was sweating too. Like you could touch the walls and literally feel moisture on the walls of the tent. Like hopefully you don't got no plant leaning up against that moisture that's growing on the walls of your tent, because you could start dealing with problems.
Yeah, and it's gonna lean on there once it gets bigger.
Oh yeah, ain't no
So
way around it. If you filled your tent out properly.
and I got another 4x4 tent, but I just leave the top corners open on each side, and the humidity escapes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that
And it winds
works.
up being too dry.
What
No,
it
it's like
winds up
50.
perfect for you?
It's staying around 50. So, that's as long as you got to keep your moisture, you got to have the moisture in there from the soil when you watering. So
So
you
you got
can't
to
let
stay
that
up
get
on
too
your
dry.
watering almost.
Yeah, yeah, growing is it's a lot of factors in that shit. It's
Yep.
like it's easy, but it's a lot to think about. You know what I mean? It's a lot of little things that got to match up right.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah. So we'll go to the next question. Frosty, what for the light you're running now, what's the canopy that you like to fill out underneath those lights?
Who asking that question?
Beast Coast.
You asking that question?
Yeah.
Like you made that question up and asked it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
This guy.
yo, me neither. Me neither. That's the reason I was asking you.
Put some fucking plants under and call it a day. Whatever your eyes say look good, do it. And
Yep.
then next run, if it came out good, do it again. If you didn't like it, then adjust it. It's
Yep.
that simple. It ain't
Correct.
gonna be no one perfect grow. People be asking all these questions like they just about to have the most amazing grow ever one
Mhm.
time. It
Yep.
don't work like that.
No.
You have to learn your room. Sometimes it take a year to figure out your room.
I messed up my first four grows. My first four grows were absolutely terrible.
That's
But
a year,
I learned from each
each
experience
one. And you put
and
it
I
all
got a little
together
bit better. Yep.
and you put it all together and adjust, and now it's great. You know what works. You know everything now. That's how it works. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like as
That's
far
why I
as that
tell people
cannabis
write
shit,
down everything you do. Everything you do, write it down. Just
I
keep a
never
little
did that
book.
either.
You
I
gotta
never did that. I never did
no.
that.
I never
I
did
just
I
that.
tell
remember I
people that.
just I just
Yeah, I
remember
mean,
what didn't work
some
last
people
time.
not like us, like to remember or you just know. But I mean, like if you just now getting into it, I just tell people try and keep a little journal of something. Like if you like a plant, tell everything that you did to it. So the next time you're gonna run it, you know exactly when and what to do to that plant, so you can run a whole, saying sea of green or a whole
Mhm.
canopy of just that.
Now 813, honestly, all my plants are subject to the exact same circumstances. So if you just don't
True.
make the cut, you don't make the cut. Because if I have to put you in a room with something else, you better be able to keep up, because I might not always be able to monocrop you and I might not want to monocrop you. So if I'm not monocropping you and you got to share space, like let's say I got I got a 10 light room and I do 5 of one strain, 5 of another. If you can't keep up, I don't think I really want to run you. If you can't
Right.
take the heat, you getting out the kitchen.
And another thing we don't talk about enough is like home growers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a broad subject in its own. You
Mm-hmm.
got home growers that have a tent, a 2x2 tent that need
Mm-hmm.
advice. Then you got home growers that build out 2-car garages that model themselves out of facilities.
Mm-hmm.
They model themselves after facilities. So they do what facilities will do. You see what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Yep.
it's like it's difficult, man. It's difficult to give people advice because it's like you for your personal might want that GMO, might want to wait that 11 to 13 weeks and it's no problem to you. A
Mm-hmm.
facility, they're not growing that shit. If it's
I'm
not
not growing that
8 weeks, a
shit.
No.
lot of facilities, if it ain't reaching the point at day 56, it's fucking up the whole production line.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? And that's where I'm kind of getting to. Like, if it ain't 56 or 63 at max, I really don't want it, man. Anything past
Nope.
that, I don't want it.
Nope. Because you're throwing my whole cycle off for the next round. Now
Pushing
my
me
other
back.
plants might wind up getting over vegged because I don't had to wait an extra 3 weeks for this GMO to finish. And
You
now
know
I
how
got
much a
plants that,
week extra veg is?
man, if your
We
plants
look
are
at the
growing
plants
good and
every
they
day.
healthy, man.
When you look at a plant every day, you don't see it. But
Yep.
if you don't see that plant for a whole week and come back,
Man.
you be like, damn, she been growing. Yeah, she
Hell
been growing
yeah.
right before your eyes too. It'll
Yep.
get out of hand quick.
Yep. That brings me to another question, Frosty. Uh, do you prefer watering systems?
Yeah, hell yeah, I do.
Hell yeah.
This how it goes though.
Hmm.
This how it goes for the people that's listening. Don't start on a watering system.
Boom.
Your whole time you vegging, or when you vegging in your end pot, hand water until
Hmm.
everything is good and like all the roots are good and full inside that pot. Then
Yes.
start your watering system.
You almost have to bring them into the schedule of receiving water every single day. It's not
Yeah,
something they're just going to do right off rip. Some strains are going to drink faster than the other ones. Some plants are going to drink faster than the other one. So you almost got to bring them into that situation knowing that they're going to get water every single day for this amount of time. You might have to give this plant just enough water to last to the next day when everything else needs to be watered. Once you got that on schedule where they all dry out every day, need the same amount of water, then you good to put them onto the watering system, in my opinion.
yeah. Like this room, Zapple Fitter room, I had it
Hmm.
on 30 minutes watering, right?
Hmm.
Everything is good, but the plant in the middle of the room, the middle, that has to be the hottest plant, is surrounded by 4 lights right there.
Hmm.
That light did not get enough water. So I had to up it to 10 up to 40 minutes per day just to get that plant to bring it into the fold to where it's nice and it can handle everything. And then everything else got used to more water, and now everything is drinking at the same rate.
Yes, you
So
gotta
it'll
walk
work.
them
It'll
into that.
adjust itself. It'll adjust itself after a while. But at first, you gotta hand water them and get those roots everywhere.
Yes.
I don't know about cocoa though, man. I see like if you're like in a 1 gallon cocoa pot, then you don't need to really worry about that.
Hmm.
But when you're on 5 gallon pots, you can't just put a fucking dripper on there and expect the roots to get everywhere and everything to be all right. It's gonna go centralized in that spot.
That's what made me switch from 3 and 5 gallon pots of cocoa to the 1 gallon pots of cocoa,
Yeah.
because in the 5 gallons everything was drinking at different times, things were getting overwatered, getting killed. We was dealing with a whole lot of different problems after that, so I decided to go down to the 1 gallons, and
You all
it
right?
worked perfectly after. No, that's that's 813 smoking some gas.
Damn. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Like you said though, that 1 gallon in cocoa or 2 gallons in cocoa, I think those probably would have done me better if and
yeah.
then just feed it every day. But those 5 gallons of just straight cocoa, that's like that's way too much.
It's way too
But
much. If you're
five
using
gallons in
anything over
King's
three
Mixes,
gallons of cocoa, I think you're using too much.
yeah, yeah. But 5 gallons in soil, that's like perfect, you know?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
When I was using Pro Mix, 5 gallons Pro Mix, it worked perfect. As soon as I switched over to 5 gallon pots of cocoa, some of the plants did great, and some of them got overwater and died. Like, I hate
Have
when
you
they say that you can't overwater in cocoa. That is a myth. That is some bullshit. Don't listen to that, because I've lost multiple plants from multiple rounds from having watering systems, and one plant in the corner is getting more water than it needs, and it winds up dying.
yeah, see it. I think when they say that, they mean when the plant is when the roots are circled
Yes.
and your root, you got a like a root bound, what would normally be root bound in cocoa,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really root
Hold,
bound. If you
you're
keep
Frosty.
on
Hold on
drinking,
1 second. Hold on one
okay.
second. 813. Just mute your mic for us.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yep, no problem. All right, go ahead, Frosty. My bad.
Yeah, I was saying like when what's normally root bound, like in the soil, is not really
Hmm.
root bound in cocoa. It just wants to drink more and more and more. So you're fine. It won't drown out that way. But now if your
Yep.
roots haven't circled in a bigger pot and they haven't got everywhere they need to be, I think you could
Yep.
definitely drown in cocoa.
And that's what was happening to me the second that I switched over to 1 gallons, and they couldn't get enough water. Like, you could water them every single day and they'd be fine.
Yeah.
That's when everything started really booming, and it made more sense to me. Like, use more plants, less medium, and it works perfect for me. I
So let
water
me
three
ask you,
times a day by hand in cocoa. You water 3 times a day by hand, bro. Get a watering system. My bad, Frosty. Go ahead.
yeah, that's crazy. So I hear this. This is what I hear. I hear your plants will get as big as they like. Okay, so they say your plants in a 2 gallon of cocoa will get as big as a 5 gallon in soil. Like they'll get that big.
Hmm.
Now, have you noticed that your plant count raised when you went down to smaller pots, or did you keep your plant count the same with less media?
No, I definitely used more plants.
You're using more plants.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
More plants, less medium. So normally I would do
How many
9
plants are
plants.
you in there?
I normally did 9 per light in the 5 gallons, and that did okay for me. As soon as I went to the 1 gallons, I do 12 per light underneath the with the 1 gallons.
12 per light under 1 gallons.
Yep.
Okay.
3 rows
Okay.
of 4.
Okay.
Yep. So I
That
do three
sounds
rows
about
of
right.
4 because if I did 4 rows of 3, I would have to veg a little bit longer to get them to fill out. But when I do 3 rows of 4 and then put them underneath the net, it works out perfect.
Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
that's one of those things too. That is that strain dependent also.
Y- uh, well, I'm different. I kill strains that don't stretch. I kill strains that don't get tall enough. If you can't keep up with the other strains that are in the room, you're gonna die. So I don't even waste time with it. So no matter what I run, pretty much all of them stretch the same, all of them veg the same, all of them flower the same. And if it doesn't, it dies.
Got you. That makes sense.
Yeah, so
That makes sense.
since I know my method of growing, I don't even bother to waste no time. But how many feedings a day do you do in 1 gallon cocoa? Y'all wouldn't even believe this. I do 1 2 minute feeding every single day. As soon as the lights come on, an hour after the lights come on, 1 2 minute feeding, open flow, and they don't get another watering until the next time.
Yeah, in my back room, that's what I do. I do 2 1 minute feedings. I do one at 7 and one at 3.
Yep.
I
So
think
so
like six
basically,
hours apart or something like that. Or 8. No, I do 6 hours apart. Whatever 6 hours apart is. I think
yep.
7 and 1 or something like that. But
Yep. So instead of me doing it in 2 separates, I just do it in one the second that the lights come on, and it lasts them until the lights come back on and they get it again. And if I
and that's
see,
it.
like, let's say I see that that's not going to work, I'll just increase it to a 3 minute feeding 1 time a day. Like, I'm not going to be in there no 3 times a day. I'm not letting the plants get watered 3 times a day. I feel like that's just too much because in nature they would never have to deal with those kind of circumstances. So they get 1 feeding per day.
That's cool.
I I'd be surprised when people be like, "Hey, I'm in a 1 gallon pot and I got to feed 3 times a day." Like I've never
You
fed
know what
any
they
of
you
my
know what they
plants three
say?
times a day.
But you know how much water I heard that they inject in it with when they do those multiple times?
How much?
They're talking about 30 mils of water. That's a fucking
30.
shot glass.
That's a shot. That's nothing. That's a waste of my time.
You see what I'm talking about? Like, but that's
Yeah.
where it's gotten to. It's gotten so technical, and maybe they do have something to say about that. But I got to see it because
Yeah.
one thing I can say is the plants are happier when the soil is slightly dry.
Yes. When they get that dry back time, I definitely see happier plants.
You can
I be
see it.
telling people that it's a weed first. It just
Yes,
Yes.
evolved. It
yes.
wants you to beat her. It wants you to
Yes.
caress her. It wants you to neglect her.
What
It's a
people forget
beautiful
is that
plant, man.
that
Yeah.
weeds grow through concrete. Like you can lay concrete and a weed will find its way to grow through just the smallest crack of fucking
Ain't that some shit?
concrete. Through the small, like you need to be juicing that plant. Like if you want to talk about plants that you want to be ingesting into your body, instead of cutting down what they call the weeds in your backyard, if that motherfucker will grow through concrete, what do you think it'll do for you?
Hey, I
You
never
you
thought
may
about that.
you may want to start juicing you because you
I'm
got to
about to
think,
buy a fucking juicer.
bro. They call dandelions weeds, and they tell you to cut them down in your backyard, and then you go to the grocery store and you see they sell you dandelion greens as a
And they
vegetable.
sell it to you.
Yep.
They tell you that
Chamomile.
they tell you that red clover is a weed and that you should cut it down out of your backyard. But red clover, if your girl is dealing with menstrual cramps, brew her a tea of some red clover. It'll stop the menstrual cramps in 10 minutes, and she'll never
Uh,
have to deal with it. She won't deal with no headaches, no nothing. So all the weeds that they tell us to cut down is literally some of the most valuable plants that we have.
That's money right there.
Because they're going to sell it back to you, because you could
Yeah.
go on Amazon right now and buy a pound of red clover, and you're going to see that it costs you about $17 for a pound of red clover. You cut a pound of red clover out of your backyard every year with your weed whacker.
Wow.
Yeah, so all you got to think, if it'll grow through concrete, what do you
That's
think
some
it'll do
shit
for
you
your
won't eat.
body?
Yeah,
That's
that's
something
real.
you want inside of you,
That's
because
real.
it's a beast. That means that the vigor that's inside of that, I want that inside of me, because I want to be able to push through concrete my goddamn self. So I would love to have a juiced a plant that could grow through concrete, and it's usually the dandelions, it's usually the barley, it's usually the plants that they tell us to throw away and then sell back to us on Amazon.
Yeah, I think I've seen a little book talking about all the different weeds that's actually beneficial to you. Like it's
Oh
so
yeah, yeah,
many
yeah.
of them, and it's
They got
probably a
apps.
lot of them. I think everything got its purpose, man. Because dogs eat
Hell
grass.
yeah.
Like what they eat grass for?
Bro, that's how I
Yeah.
found out. That's how I found out about the red clover, because whenever my female went in the heat, she would go in my backyard and she would specifically eat all of the red clovers. And I'm like, why doesn't my male ever touch them? And it's always my female that during her heat, she's tearing these red clovers up. I don't even have to trim the red clovers out of my backyard. She's gonna eat them all. And
Yeah.
then I go and I look it up and I'm like, wow, now I feel stupid because she was showing me something the whole time, that during her time where she doesn't have to deal with no cramps or nothing, she just eats the red clover or she eats the barley that grows out of my backyard. Because when you're dealing with no-till, you wind up buying all of these cover crops and they seed your whole backyard afterwards and they start growing invasive. So I have barley
They
that grows
start
in my,
producing, huh?
yeah, and she tears that shit up. And I'm like, damn, maybe I need to start paying attention a little bit more to what she's doing because she
Really?
knew something I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
So
trip.
yeah. So it's so many things we don't know about plants because we're trying to get too technical when it comes to the plants, and we're overlooking a whole bunch of shit that comes along with it. And that's
That's
with
true.
all plants, because there's poisonous frogs, but the poison that comes from that frog is actually an antibiotic for something else that could be wrong with you. You could take snake venom and use it to actually stop the effects of snake venom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's so many things that come along with this, but I'm sorry to get off topic, but when we talk about plants, this is my zone right here. Um,
Ain't nothing
what are
wrong with
what?
that, man. I've been
Yeah,
thinking about start doing some like growing exotic flowers,
oh
like
yeah,
different type of flowers and shit. I've been looking at
yep.
just for like a little extra hobby, something to see if I can keep them alive and things
You're
like
gonna
that.
fall in love with it,
Yeah, I know. That's why I ain't started yet. I don't
and
got time for
it's gonna
falling in
make you
love
a
with
better
something else.
it's gonna make you a better grower overall, because if you get some of these plants are not easy to grow, like
Exactly.
like with my blueberries, I can't grow my blueberries anywhere near my raspberries. They take a completely different pH, and if they don't have acidic soil, then they're not going to produce blueberries the way that blueberries need to be produced. So these are certain things you start taking into effect, and then you start thinking like, hey, what if cannabis plants also like different pHs based on where they came from and what the pH of their soil was naturally based off of their crosses?
That's true.
And then what method was the breeder breeding these strains in? Because what if he was breeding in DWC? Will this plant be more prone to growing better hydroponically than it will in soil because it was
Hmm.
breeded in a different situation? You
Didn't
you
have to
just start
fight through anything. Didn't have to fight
exactly.
through any media or nothing. Just food
It's
all the
just like
time.
when it comes to feminized plants, I always say this. If you see a child that grows up without its father, you'll notice it doesn't have the backbone that it needs to. It's not able to fight off adversities as well as if it had a father inside of the house. I think when cannabis plants are breeded without having a father in the situation, being a male plant, they don't have the same fight off against diseases and pests and the rest of that. I think all of that comes from the male. So when you have
Yeah,
feminized seeds, you got to be careful. You almost got to treat this like your little princess, because any little thing, temperature get too high, not getting enough water, anything like that happens, it's going to react differently than a plant that had a male in the situation.
yeah. That's why I want to do regulars from now on.
Yeah, I prefer to hunt through regulars. Now, if I can
Regulars
only
are
get
better,
certain,
man.
if I can only
Yeah,
get
I
a strain of
love red.
S1, you me too. If I can only get a strain of S1, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
but like let's say a new hype strain comes out, copycat S1's the strain. I'll just go to copycat and get the S1 versus shelling out 5 or 6K for a clone.
yeah,
But preferably when I'm buying seeds, I want F1s of something that got a male in it. And I don't
exactly.
want F2s, I don't want F3s, I don't want F4s, because I don't care what nobody say. The biggest variation you're gonna get is in F1s. It
It's
gets
that
more
first
And
one.
F1s,
The
it gets
F1
more
F1s.
homogenized. The only reason you're taking it past F1 is because you're trying to
to
stabilize it
narrow it
to
down.
look to narrow it down. So they
Yeah,
tell me I'm tripping when I'm saying that. No, I'm not tripping. I'm telling you that the only reason you're taking it past F1 is because you found something that you want to stabilize it. So you continue it. again, I'm a dog breeder. So if I take a female from my litter and I back cross it to my male, I'm trying to get the next entire litter to look exactly like the female that I just found.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing with cannabis plants. So if I take it and I bring it to F2, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm making it. When I ran the peanut butter cookie F2, every single pheno of the peanut butter cookie F2 looked exactly like my peanut butter cookie F1 one pheno. Now I found 4 different phenos in my peanut butter cookie F1. All the F2s look like one pheno from my F1s. When I ran the Brisker OG F3s, all of the phenos from the F3s looked exactly like one pheno from my F1, but I found 5 different phenos out of my F1s. So just give me F1s all day so I could find my own pheno.
Yeah. So I'm getting pictures back from like all the seeds people bought from me, like that are regulars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing shit like, damn, I need to pop them myself, man. You guys
Yeah,
found
Yes.
that? You found
and they
this?
be beautiful, man. They be
Beautiful. I'm
so
like,
beautiful,
shit.
King.
Yep.
Yeah,
Now,
Your
man.
your
now
citrus
A13,
splits are
you're a
beautiful.
citrus
Yes,
splits was absolutely gorgeous. They were vigorous.
yes.
They did amazing. Yo, biggest
But
plants
that
that
was
are
a
going to be
unique.
in
That
your.
was for a certain type of smoker though.
It's
That
okay.
that
Here
was
here
for
was my
a back
my
east sativa lover.
okay, here was my issue with the citrus split. It was just too strong for me. And I know that sounds crazy for somebody to be a cannabis smoker and say that a strain is too strong for them. But
Never.
the strain was just too strong for me. I can't lie and just act like I smoke 40 blunts a day. No, I'm not. I don't
Yeah,
smoke as much as the average person. So when I smoked the citrus split, that shit
it's
had the room
racy.
spinning. It
It's
was
like a
very
racy.
racy.
It's like a racy, trippy sativa. Like one of them. Like you got to really be that. Got to be your acquired taste for that one.
Yes. Now when I
Like
was
if you
working
love it, like
outdoor
if you
during the
love it, you really love it. But if you don't like it,
yes.
you ain't never gonna fuck with it again.
Now,
It's just too
summertime when I
strong.
was working outdoor and I had to be in my garden all the time and I was dealing with the dogs and the kids and that, I loved it because it'll make you want to go outside and get to work.
Yeah,
Now, come winter time for me when you can't go nowhere, that it was not my best friend. That was not my best friend. You got to kind of wait for that to wear down before you can even do anything else because it'll just have the room spinning for you.
yeah.
Very strong
Right.
strain. Now, for you people who are looking for something that's super fucking strong, if you could still get your hands on the citrus split, go for it. If you're like a painter or you're something like that and you just need to get some creativity, go for that citrus splits because it's going to make your mind race and it's going to make you come up with things you normally wouldn't have came up with. So it's perfect for somebody who paints or does artwork or does sculptures or something like that. Now, if you just want to chill for the day, that is not your
That
go-to.
ain't it. Yeah, that
Frosty
ain't for
got
you.
plenty of other strains like the cement shoes crosses, something like that. You're gonna want to
Yeah,
go with something like that.
the sour
Yeah,
shoes is
sour
doing
shoes.
great,
I'm sorry,
man.
sour shoes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that shit's doing great, man. That's a nice one, man. It's
Yeah,
like some stuff like I'm ready to pop. I'm ready to go back and pop some shit, find some shit myself, man. People be sending me pictures, man. They look really good, really good reviews on stuff. So
It's
that's the
always
good
good
thing
when you
about
make a
breeding too. It's like
strain.
I'll always have some. You know what I mean?
It's always good when you make a strain that's so good you want to go back and hunt through your own gear.
Yep. And you got the seeds to do it, so you just be all right. I'll just save me a pack. You know, it's all good.
Yep, you might find a keeper female that you might want to throw into your next breeding chamber.
Exactly.
Yep,
That's what
and
happens.
that's the goal right there. And that's the thing that I think
It's
most of
awesome.
us love about you, Frosty, is that every time we see you, you're improving. So you'll notice something that happened last round, and we'll see you on the next round improving on that. We'll see you do a
Yeah.
greenhouse, and then you didn't like something about the greenhouse, so you adjusted. So the second round of your greenhouse was crushed. Like it
I
was
mean, that's how you're
amazing.
supposed to be, though. That's how life should be.
Nah, but they tell you to stay stagnant and do this method right here. And if you do this method, you're gonna get 3.5 a light.
Nah, man, you got to keep trying shit. I was thinking about that too when I was listening to them. I was like, man, it seems like everybody that was taught one way in that field, they just stick with that way they taught. And that's just
Yes.
like me sticking the way I was taught in school. I'll be a fucking idiot.
Yes.
I would be a
Yes.
fucking idiot, man. I'll be
Because what
working
happens when they
somewhere.
lie to you?
It's crazy, man.
What happens when they lie to you and you're basing everything you're doing off of a lie?
And that's how you do it. You're proven. I never try anything else. This is it. This is all I do. And I'm like, nah, I can't live like that. If I see
What's
something
up,
that
Hot
sounds
Sauce?
good and it makes sense in my head, I'm gonna give it a try.
Hell yeah. And if I mess up, I mess up. Life is a learning lesson. As you
Yeah.
go through life, you'll notice that you never made a mistake. You had to go through some learning lessons. To you, it might be a mistake, but I go by the culture that I don't live with no guilt. I don't have time to be carrying that baggage around with me. I did something, it didn't work. I learned from it. I'm going to upgrade the very next time. I don't live with no guilt. I don't live with no regrets. I don't live with none of that. Everything is a learning experience. And once you accept life like that, you start to look at things different.
Exactly. As long as,
Everything was a learning experience.
Exactly, King.
as long as you can afford
Exactly.
to take these lessons, this is school to me, man. If I try something, I just taught myself something, and now I'm a teacher. Now I could teach you that don't work. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
Yeah, that's a fact.
All should be.
So Frosty, well, 813, we'll go with you and then we'll go to Frosty afterwards. What are some of the genetics that you're looking forward to running and breeding with? Like some of the ones that are kind of hard for you to get. What are some of those that you're looking forward to running and breeding
It's a lot, man. Like the apple fritters, um, the biscotti.
with? Mm-hmm.
But I did find some feminized like peach biscotti, lemon biscotti. But
Mm-hmm.
again, those are made by somebody else. That's not the actual biscotti. Then you make it yourself. What else? I'm looking for, like I told you, the forbidden fruit. I get back my ninja fruit because I always wanted to take ninja fruit and cross it with forbidden fruit, and make forbidden ninja. But I told you the little mishaps that happen, and you just lose genetics along the way. You give it to certain people, they fall out with their peoples, and then they
Mm-hmm.
have to scrap the whole thing because police is about to be involved. So that's why I just been low key and just been keeping to myself lately, and have to build myself back up because you can't
Mm.
blame nobody but yourself.
It's a learning lesson, bro. Don't take it to
Always.
heart.
That's what life is. That's exactly what life is. And people, once they get that in life, you understand that everything else is easy. The worst thing in life is no, and the best thing in life is yes. There's no in between. So
That's
once
a
you get
fact.
that down packed, you understand what life is, man. Nobody owes
That's,
you anything. No matter if they look you in your face and dog you out, they don't owe you nothing, bro.
no,
You
you
know
owe
what I'm
yourself.
saying? You owe yourself. You put yourself in that predicament no matter how you look at it. You put yourself in that predicament, and at the end of the day, guess what? You have to get yourself out of that shit. So,
That's a fact.
so,
Okay,
but yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, that's about it. Go ahead, Frosty.
Yeah, so Frosty, what are some genetics that you looking to get your hands on that you looking to really do some breeding with? Some of the ones that are harder to get, maybe, or just something that you ain't been able to find yet that you really want to find that you want to do some breeding with.
You know what I noticed? I noticed that I don't want nothing until it's put in my face.
Okay.
So it's like I got I got some shit. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
got some shit that I
I
could
feel you.
I don't need nothing. Like I don't need to, like I keep looking, but I'm not the shit that I'm finding is like, do I really need it? It's just this and this. I mean, that's done already. Everything's done already.
Yep.
Everything is done already. The only thing that's not done is the shit that's in my breeding room. That's not done yet. So it's like I'm
Exactly.
just gonna keep focusing on that and try to create my own little concoctions and stay the fuck off trying to buy this and buy that. If it come
Yeah, stay
across
off
me and
the
I
hype.
really find it interesting, and I'll pick it up. But I can't keep thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can't keep thinking about it. One thing I do want is from my boys King Clones in San Jose. Is a strain I grew years and years ago, like 3-4 years ago. It's called Super Glue. Super Glue was probably that was for sure my biggest yielding strain ever. I never had a complaint with it. The only reason I stopped growing it because, like I said, I kept seeing new shit in my face, and I wanted to try something new. But I want
Yep.
that strain back.
You know what's
I want
crazy?
I want that
I
strain
just
back,
had
and I want to run it.
I just had super glue like 2 days ago.
I don't know if that's the same one because if you look up Super Glue
It
online,
probably ain't. It probably ain't.
if you look it up online, it's going to tell you some other shit, and that's not the super glue I'm talking about. This super glue is Gorilla Glue 4 crossed with Gelato 45. It's hella
No,
strong.
then mine
It's a
was
big
very
I
yielder.
know exactly what you're talking about, King. And they have the
It's,
Elmer's glue too. Have you ever
it's
tried Gorilla Glue? I
regular.
mean Gorilla Cookies, excuse me.
yeah.
Uh,
They call it glookies.
Yeah. Oh, okay. They call it Glickies. Okay. Yeah. When I had it, it was never that. It was called Gorilla. It was called Cookie Glue.
yeah,
When
cookie
I
Yeah,
glue.
tell
they
you
got
that
so many
that
different
shit,
names
so
for it, but it's
yeah, I know, King. I feel you. But then when I tell you that, just like how he said that was to him, that right there was so fucking fire, bro. I was like, if I
Yeah,
find a cut of that, I want that to be my stable male to help start my breeding process of another run, bro. Because that
yeah.
thing was
and
hitting.
the thing that tells the tale about this cut I'm talking about is the place still
Uh-huh.
got it.
Mm,
That's what they sell.
Wow.
They stick with 5 strains. They have 5 stable strains that you're gonna win in your garden if you have them in there. And all this tinkering around and trying new shit, it's like my girl keep telling me like super glue was fire. If you just grew that only, you'll still be all right. And I'm like, that's true. I need to get that back just to keep that around, because she's just like she yields, she stinks, she's frosty, she
I was
smells
just
great.
about to ask you, how did it yield for you?
Nobody ever complained. Everybody was like, I like that one. Let me get some more of that. All the
hmm
time. So
And
it's
that's
like
what you want.
sometimes these strains don't need help. Just leave
Yep.
that alone and it's fine. You ain't gotta do nothing to it. And that's a strain that you don't have to do nothing to. Ain't no tweaking with that
Yep. So
one.
Frosty, that brings me to another question. Do you feel that it's better to almost basically run less genetics and more fire than to run more genetics of what you think is fire?
Man, that's what I've been doing for a while. More genetics that I think is fire. And what I'm starting to understand is the fire that people want don't match the growth I want. So
Exactly.
I might as well grow what's proven. Like I said, like that super glue is proven. It's gonna grow how I want, and the people love it. But
And it's a win. That means it's a winner.
apple fritters the same way for me. I love that motherfucker too. She a beast. People love it. It's great. But the thing about apple fritter, I get at about another year and a half, it's gonna be out the door.
Yep.
But that super glue, I guarantee that one ain't going nowhere because it's been around already for 5, 6 years.
It survived the test of time.
You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yep.
like sometimes you gotta pick what's gonna be like just proven. Just pick what's proven, man.
Yep.
All
So
that trying to save people, it's like trying to cater to people, and I got this and I got this. Keep up with those times. You got to, but at the same time, if you got that to fall back on, you're gonna be straight.
exactly. All you got to do is make something that's because peanut butter cookies was very new to where I'm at. I can't
Yeah.
grow enough peanut butter cookie. I can't grow enough Polly Shore. Like it's gone. Like there's nothing I could do about it. The runts ain't got shit on the way that the peanut butter cookie and Polly Shore moves. Uh, Gary Payton, none of them have anything. Like if I had Gary Payton and cereal milk and the rest of those, and I also had peanut butter cookie or Polly Shore, I promise you both of those are gonna be gone first.
And that's what I mean about those genetics that's just like stable and they know what they about to get. They about to get high and they about to have good flavor.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, people want to get high. So it's like all that terp shit and hype shit, they smoking hella blunts of that shit. And they
Hella.
not getting the effects they want.
Yeah, they buy 50, they buy $100, $80 eighth of runts and they
And they're
putting it
just
in
buying the
backwood,
bags.
in one
They're just
backwood.
buying those pretty bags.
Yeah, then they putting it in one backwood just to go on Instagram and be like, yeah, big blunt of runs. Yeah, but you ain't smoking no big blunt of nothing that I like the way you smoking that runs. Like you're not gonna smoke a eighth of citrus splits and one blunt. I promise you, you're not getting through the whole thing. I don't care who
Hell
you are. It's
no.
not happening. It's not happening.
Hell no, you not.
It's not happening. You be done fucked your whole life up. Like that should have make you quit smoking for a few days. Like that.
And that's and that's what I'm looking for also. That's one of the answers also is what I'm looking for out of strain. I'm looking for motherfucker to smoke, get halfway down through the blunt, put that motherfucker out and be cool. Like
But
I'm
you know
I'm
something
straight.
though?
You know what I
But
mean?
Kings, y'all know something with this? a lot of the new smokers that's going for the hype are new smokers. They're not old school smokers. The old school
Got you.
smokers know how to smoke. These new school done messed their life up by dabbing early before they even had a blunt because they know they
Oh,
can't go home smelling. They've been dabbing way before they've been burning.
That's
You know what I'm
true.
saying? So it's like they ran before they crawled. They ain't never had to pop no seeds out. They ain't never had to smoke no break the brick down. They ain't never
yep.
had to do none of that stuff, bro. All their stuff came pretty, beautiful in a bag, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So when they say, oh, that's why they don't care, that's why they think they gotta smoke 6, 7 blunts 100 times, you know what I'm saying? Before they can
Yo,
get right.
yo,
So
813. This was the reason, and I almost didn't even upload that video one day when I did that video about the power of the plant. Something in me made me not even want to upload that video because I'm like, some people might not even get this. But you can literally receive some great messages from smoking less because if you just take a few pulls, hit the spot that you like to be at, and then
mhm,
get some good thoughts in your head and act upon them. It's going to be better than if you smoking 9, 10 blunts a day and you're not getting any type of productivity out of it because you can smoke that all day, but what type of productivity are you doing? How much work are you able to put in after smoking?
correct.
First off, why do you have so much time on your hands that you're even able to smoke that much? You already having a problem. You're not studying, you're not accomplishing no dreams. You ain't going out with your family. You ain't doing none of that.
That's
Smoking
where that
no 8, 9,
laziness
10 blunts a
stigma
day. It's
comes
not
from.
happening.
Correct.
Would you say, Frosty? I'm sorry.
So that's where that laziness stigma comes from. They smoking too
Exactly.
much.
Too
Like when
much.
I smoke, my girl just be sitting on the couch looking up at me because I'm standing up with hella ideas,
Hella ideas. Just running
telling
it
her
by
hella
shorty
shit,
all day. Me too.
telling
I be
her
going a
hella shit.
million miles an hour. And you know what I started doing? I even started having her because I forget them. So sometimes I'll even make her like in her phone take memos of some of the ideas that I just came up with. And then
That's smart.
finally when I'm back sober, I'll be like, yo, let me see that. Let me see some of those memos that I did the other day. I wanna actually start putting some of that into action.
For real. That's smart right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Cause them ideas just come at you, man. Your brain just opens up. Like a portal of information just start flowing through. But you can't be that stone to where you just looking stupid with your mouth hanging. Can't be that stupid.
Exactly.
Can't be that stone.
No,
Exactly.
no.
I smoke
You
way
can't
less than
handle
I ever
business.
used to. I used to smoke so much. Like if you caught me without a blunt, you would ask me what was wrong with me. Like, yo, bro, you all right? Like you ain't got no blunt in your hand. Like you all right? Now, if you see me with a blunt in my hand, you might ask me if I'm all right.
Yeah,
Like,
you all right?
Right.
yo, bro, you stressed right now or something? Like I'll never see you with a blunt in your hand no more. Yeah, that's because I took 3, 4 pulls, got the inspiration that I needed to, and that was all I needed until later on.
Do you guys believe the saying high on life? Do you believe that?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ever since I changed my life and I actually
Yeah.
started wanting to live for me and accomplish the dreams that I had in my head, I feel like that alone gets me high. Like just that drive to be able to do what I want to when I want to. Something about that just gives me the high that it made me smoke less because now I'm doing exactly what I want to, and it's making me so happy that I'm feeling the same happiness that I would have had I smoked 3 blunts in a row.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
I
think
same
believe
thing.
you. I believe you. My kids make me high on life, man. My cubs.
how old
You
Yeah.
are they?
know, that's where I get high off of. Just seeing my cubs accomplishing what I should have at that age, you know?
Yep. What
Knowing
was
if
you
I
saying,
had
Frosty?
this, oh,
So
go
how
ahead.
old are they?
Oh, it ranged from 21, 18, 14, and 8.
Hold up. Before we go any further, bro, you look like you like 22. Yo,
Exactly.
black
Can
don't
you not?
crack unless you smoke it. I swear to God, black don't crack unless you
But
smoke.
bro, we have the same thing in common. You don't look no older, and Frosty don't look old. You feel me? You know, I've been vegan since 16, and you've been vegan since young too. So, you know, what I'm saying life changes is what help you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. When I tell
that's
That's why
people
I
I got
get
a 21-year-old daughter, they be like, "What?" Like,
Yeah,
man,
they
I
be looking
started
at us
young, man. I
crazy.
started at
Real young.
16. Yeah,
I
Yo,
started at
Frosty, you just
15.
fucked my head up because I would have never in my life thought it was possible that you could have a 21-year-old daughter.
yeah, she'll be 21 in May, and I got a
Like,
1-year-old.
like,
It's crazy.
like where? Like,
Yeah.
like this is black excellence at its best. Like, where? How is it possible that either one of y'all have kids that are this old and y'all look the age of y'all kids?
You know what it is? We got so many genes passed down to stressed out. We don't take stressed out like other people do.
Yeah. You know where else they fucked up is by breeding us like they did horses. You want the strongest of the
You want the
strongest to breed
strongest?
with the
Now you got it.
strongest of the. Now you got Shaq.
Correct.
Now you got Kobe. Now you got LeBron. Now you got D Wade. Now
You
you
seen the
got
black boy
now you
paying
got
for the
Frosty.
Kings?
Exactly. And then depending on where you live, like both of y'all live in warm climates, which is even better because you can't take a gorilla and put it in a where a polar bear lives and expect it to do good and still thrive the same way. It's not gonna. It's gonna die a lot faster. So where I'm at, where it gets super fucking cold and you got to deal with the snow and all of that, that's not in my DNA.
Yeah, it's not.
So the people who live closer to where I am, they're going to deal with way different circumstances than somebody who lives in the more tropical, warmer climate because sun is a part of your diet. And if you are dark in any way, shape, or form, you have to be outside for at least an hour or two before you even start absorbing light
Correct.
because you got a natural sunblock on.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. That makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna start taking more time outside in the sun, and I'd be so spoiled, like a lot of people are. We just get air conditioning, we just chilling out in the right climate, but we do got to spend time out there, just bake for a minute, get
Yo,
some of that vitamin D in your life.
they tell me I'm so weird because as dark as I am, every summer when they be like, yo, bro, what you doing? I'll be like, yo, I'll be around in like 2 hours because I'm tanning. And they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm just sitting outside in the sun tanning.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that an issue? Like, yo, why you want to get any darker? Like, what? Why
Like
wouldn't I?
I ain't about to
A
get
lot of
darker. I'm
people,
about
a
to
lot of
get how
people
I'm
be
supposed to be.
blown.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go
No,
ahead,
Go
bro.
ahead. Oh no, I say a lot of people don't understand when I say I sun gaze. They be like, "What
Oh
do you
yeah,
mean?" I
solar
was like,
gazing. Hell yeah.
I was like, I stare into the sun. They be like, "Why would you do that? It'll damage your eyes." I was like, "No, it doesn't. That's what we used to do when we were young. There was no TV, there was no arcades, there was nothing back in the
Yes.
days. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors used to look to the sun and look to the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Those was both light periods for them. You know what I mean? And I
Yes.
mean, I love it when I'm feeling down and I look into the sun. I can actually see the sun. I
When
see
you
the
go
black
outside, you
sun. You
immediately
know,
start feeling better. The moment that, like, if
correct.
you in the AC all day and then you go out into the heat, you might say it's hot, but your body's telling you something completely different. Your body's
yeah,
telling you that this is where you need to
Completely
be.
different.
Your body's telling
yeah.
you this is where you need to be. You can say I'm hot because
Exactly.
you're a spoiled little brat, but your body is telling you that this is what I want. Like you stay out there for a minute, even though it's hot, because it just feels so good.
You adapt. You know it turns cool to you. You know, you cool
Exactly.
down after a while. Yes, you're right,
Hell yeah.
King.
And even if I don't, I'm cool with sweating. Ain't nothing wrong with sweating. Pushing
No,
toxins out and all sorts.
pushing
Ain't
the extra
nothing wrong with
toxins out,
sweating.
man.
Yeah, ain't
Yeah, I
nothing
gotta
wrong with
take it.
sweating.
Got to take a better outlook this summer.
Yeah, hell, I'm
Start
telling you, bro,
staying out there more.
it'll change everything. If it's really hot outside and you feel like you don't want to be outside, just sit out there for a little while, sweat, and just watch the leaves blow in the wind. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, it will change. No one can fuck
Yes.
your day up after that. Like it's nothing no one can do that's gonna mess your day up after that.
yeah, that's true. Got to
It
do
is.
it.
It's definitely a beautiful fit. Okay, now we'll move on to the next question. How do you guys feel about light cycles? Like, do you guys run 12-12, 11-13, 18-6, 24-hour veg? We'll start with Frosty. Do you run 24-hour veg and 12-12 flower?
18-6 in veg and 12-12 flour.
Okay. What about you, 813?
I run 24 in veg, and then yeah, I run 24. I like it.
Now,
I
something
run
I
all
noticed is outdoors, I've never seen a plant get 12 direct hours of sunlight.
correct.
No, you don't.
So do you think that 11 and 13 will actually bring out a little bit more out of the plant since that's more natural circumstances than 12 and 12?
You mean like 11 hours of light?
Yeah, 13 hours of dark.
I mean, that is more natural. That is more about right.
Yeah,
But
do you think it'll make a difference?
I don't know, man. I never tried it. I never seen anything to prove otherwise. I just 12-12. That's all I
I
know.
never tried it
12-12.
either. Yeah.
Me
Have you
neither, but
tried it?
no, I've been seeing a lot about it though, and I started thinking like, damn, outdoor, I've never seen a plant get 18 hours of light, and I've never seen a plant get 12 hours of light.
Nope.
Now, Frosty, and
Yeah.
now
Three.
when I used to stay out there in Yucca Valley, you know, the temperatures used to change just like that too, because we had the valley to the left of us
Uh-huh.
with the heat, and then we had the mountains to the right, and it was always frosty. You could drive up there, ice on the car, drive back down, and melt by the time you get to the bottom. Now, with outside, if you plants are just outside, not in a greenhouse, if we just growing outdoors, right? The plant still gets light at night. And people always talk about, oh, light leak will mess your plant up, it'll make it herb. I've never seen a plant outside herb.
The light leak
Even
comes
if
from okay, this is how this works. There's moonlight, right?
right,
So you got a specific amount of light that you're gonna have at nighttime when the plants go into their dark cycle. But in a room, if you have consistent light leak, you're okay. But if you have an interruption light leak, like say the lights come on for about an hour in between the dark period, you're gonna harm.
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I
Like
see what you're
none
saying,
of
King.
like my room, like one of my rooms has a consistent light leak because the outside of that room is a veg area, and that's 18.6. So it always has that. It's had it since the beginning of its cycle. So that never happens. But if I was to open that door in the middle of that cycle, then it'll be an issue. You see what I mean?
Right.
Like if the sun just came up at 12 o'clock in the morning, like 12 o'clock a.m., then went back down at 1 a.m., you're gonna have herms. You know what I'm saying? But moonlight and other little light, even fucking even like floodlights, shit like that, that shit don't affect it either. None of that affects it. Cause you got so much of a high par reading with the sun up to like 2000, right?
Right.
And then when at that nighttime, it's damn near nothing. Even though we see the moonlight, we see all the other stuff, it's still at nothing. It's not really registering. It probably registered 10 or 20. That's nothing compared to 2000. So the plant's still gonna go to sleep.
That is true, King.
Yep. So
Yeah,
Frosty,
I always
when it
wanted
comes
to
to
yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you for answering that question, Frosty. But yeah, go ahead,
Yep.
King.
Do you agree with what I'm saying though? Like you
Yeah,
understand
I
it?
do agree. No, I understand exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yes, I do agree with that.
As long as it's consistent, man, it don't matter. Like it really don't matter because even in veg, I had some plants in veg, and they dark period was like it was hella light still, but that's what they was used to, and it was just wasn't intense as the daytime for them. So they just go to they understand it. You know what I mean?
They'll catch on.
Yep.
Yeah. You know how bright the fucking moon is
Yes.
in the summer? Come
Breath,
on,
it
man.
gives off a little heat, and a lot of
You
people
could
don't
be
know
out
that.
there all night and just be like, damn, we walking down the street, chilling, we can see everything. Like
And
this is
the further you get away from the city having these street lights, the brighter the moon looks.
oh yeah, like where I'm at, the moon is bright. The moon is bright as hell
Bright,
in that time.
bright. Now, if you live in the middle of the city, you might not even notice the moon.
You would
No, you
not
ain't gonna see
notice
it
it.
because it's
You're
too many
not
street
gonna
lights.
see it, bro. You're not. That's why I say when I stayed out there in Yucca Valley, I was blown the first 2 weeks I stayed out there. I didn't want to come out at night.
Yo,
Seeing
stars, all
the
sorts of
stars look
street
like
lights
you
you can
could
see.
touch them. I was like, no. That moon was like in your face. It was
Yeah.
like I
Hey,
was like, no.
813.
Oh,
Hey,
yes.
813. Does it remind you of Lion King when it was laying in the grass and looking and wondering exactly what the hell the stars were?
Man, yes, King. Like,
Yeah.
bro, it's just right there where you could touch it. What it really, what was so powerful about it, looking up and you can see the 3 stars, and you know you're looking at the pyramid because they're lined up with them. That's what broke me to come outside more. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at the pyramids
They
in
did that
Egypt
for a
while
reason.
I'm sitting here.
And I'm
Exactly,
talking
where you can
about
see it
world
from
over, they
anywhere.
aligned the pyramids with the exact same celestial calendar. We'll get into that on another live stream,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Because that might go too crazy. Yo, so what do you got? We'll start with Frosty again. Frosty, what do you think about being way too technical in your grow room? And also, what do you think about people who are promoting a product? Like, let's say I'm connected to a nutrient company, and I'm telling you that if you run this nutrient company with this temperature, this humidity, that you're going to get this yield. Do you think that the fact that they're being paid by these people has something to do with what they're saying?
Yeah, it's always gonna be biased if you're getting paid.
I agree.
If you're getting paid, you're gonna rep that motherfucker like it ain't nothing other.
Yep. And if
You
you
know?
get a discount code for them and you're getting kickback based off of how many people use your discount code,
You're working.
then you just working.
You're working, man. That's all it is. That's why I don't buy into any of that shit.
Nope.
You can't buy any. The only reason I bought HLGs is because I seen other people run them for so long. Then I finally jumped on and got some, and then I just blew away. Like, damn, it really fucking works. Okay, cool. But now it's like everybody's on a power size hype, extreme gardening hype, mycorrhiza shit, all this shit, and it's like all this shit is just to get you some money out your pocket, and you're gonna do it because you want the best for your plants. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
like it's cool. I don't knock it because I'm a businessman. I can't knock it. I'm
Oh yeah.
actually talking with somebody to come out with some will come out with a basic nutrient for myself actually. So I'm not knocking it because I'm a
Hell
rep my
yeah.
shit too. I'm a rep mine
Hell
too.
yeah. Hell yeah. But if your product doesn't work, then what?
If the shit don't work, you gotta it don't work. I'm
You don't
done
want your
with it.
name attached to that.
I'm not about to keep lying to people for you. You know what I mean? Like that's come on. This is
Do
supposed to
you
be a
run?
humble community, not a greedy lying ass community. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Do you use RO water, Frosty?
But hell no.
What's your reasons for not using RO water?
Because we the tap
Uh,
boys.
RO water is nothing in it. That's like me drinking distilled water, which I do once a month. Drink distilled water because it'll flush out some minerals that like don't need for buildup. Like I think like you can get buildup of minerals, get gallstones later or some shit. So
Oh
you should
yeah.
drink some distilled water. But as far as RO water, you got to put everything back in it, and the tap water has all the shit in it.
Mm-hmm.
It had all the stuff that the plant needs in it,
Yep. Now
and all the stuff that you need.
I prefer spring water for drinking.
I drink
Yeah,
spring water.
I drink spring water.
I
Yeah,
drink
for
spring water
drinking
and I
purposes.
drink Oakland tap water. If I'm at my mom's house, I'm drinking all her tap water. That's the best water I ever had in my life. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oakland tap
Everybody
water
just
just
has
comes
this.
out pure. I don't
See
know.
now,
It's just fucking awesome. But
bro,
other than
this is
that,
the problem with the cannabis community is that we start following what everyone is saying and we no longer start using our brains for ourselves. So we think there's a problem with tap water, and if you're not using RO water, then there's stuff in the water that. But then you use your hose to water your gardens and your backyard and everything, and it grows the most perfect vegetables. It grows the perfect trees. It grows the perfect grass. It does everything perfect. But then when it comes to your grow room, you want to be wasteful, and for every 5 gallons of water, you're getting 1 gallon of RO water, and you think that you're doing something. But then you got to add calcium and magnesium back to it when the water was already full of calcium and all you did was filter the calcium out of it. When all you had to do was add Epsom salt that would have balanced out the calcium with mag. See, most people don't know calcium is an immobile nutrient. Calcium cannot move without magnesium. So magnesium is almost like the bus for calcium. The calcium has to get on the magnesium bus in order to move through the plant. So if your water is already full of calcium, balance it out with the right amount of magnesium, and you don't have to use CalMag anymore. You saved yourself a product that you have to buy from the store, but the cannabis community has also made it like tap water is just so bad. and you can't use tap water in your indoor garden, or you doing something that's fucked up. And I don't like that idea because it's just another way to be wasteful and for people to blame the cannabis community on things that we don't need to use, but it's things that was taught to us, so we think that we need it.
Yep, just marketing, man. It's marketing.
Yep, and I got 3 RO filters. I got big boys, like the big RO filters.
Yeah, I got
a
a tall boy. It's just been sitting in the box. I never even tried to put it together. I was just like, everything's working fine. Do I really need this shit? No, I just fucking put it up, and it's just been there ever since.
Yep, same here. Same here, and it's never made a difference to me.
There's so much nutrients like that, man. Like I never really was a bottle nutrients type of person.
I got a lot of nutrients if you want them. I'm trying to clean house. I got hella bullshit.
I feel you, man. You should do a giveaway, King. You should do somebody do a raffle and pay for
I'm not
shipping.
giving that shit away. I'm throwing that shit away. That shit is garbage. That shit is garbage, and nobody needs to use it.
True.
Boom. Boom. You see how,
like, look,
that's why I love to keep it real. This is why I love the Real Talk Cannabis podcast. Go ahead, Frosty.
I was growing outdoor for the first time, right? My boy was coming checking on me, just make sure I was doing everything. And he was like, "Damn, boy, you don't see that plant? I had to water it, man." I was like, "Oh, you didn't dechlorinate it and do this, all this stuff?" He was like, "No, man, if it's gonna die, you just gotta give it to it." And I'm thinking like, so the plant has zero effect of you doing that straight out the tap. But then you got me buying these fucking filters for the hose. For what? Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing changed. The plant is fine. Like all this shit just makes you feel better. So you buy it because you think it's going to make the plants feel better. But it's really just you. It's really just you. You're the factor in this. Oh, this is clean. Ain't nothing in this water. The plant gonna want that. The plant gonna want nothing as water. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Yo, Frosty, can you do me a favor and take over for 2 seconds while I run to the bathroom?
Who, me? Fuck, I'm gonna talk about.
Yo, 813, grab some questions out of the chat real quick and give them the so grab some questions out of the chat real quick. I'm gonna just run to the bathroom real fast.
All right.
Wait, there was a question for Frosty way earlier that I completely forgot to ask you. Hold on 1 second. Damn, I forgot who asked it, but somebody asked way earlier, and it was a good fucking question, and I completely forgot to ask it to you. Damn it! But 813, go ahead. Ask Frosty a question. Go ahead. Give me 1 second.
Frosty, what got you? Oh, you already told us what I heard on your video. You already talked about what got you into growing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
the bag. Arsenal McGowan said, any of these trimmers any good? You been hearing about any trimmers?
Not really. I mean, again, that's like your preference, you know. It's what works for you.
I've been hearing about some Chickamasa trimmers, supposed to be like some kind of coating on it so you could trim more and shit like that. That sounded pretty good, so I'll order some from Amazon, try it out. You know, because that'd be kind of good if the trimmers ain't getting hella sticky hella fast.
Yes. That is true. Some that don't gum up fast, that would be nice.
But then again, I don't even trim, so why should I care?
Because you're workers, man. This guy. That's why I love you, man. Another thing, I know you say you grow for yield and bag appeal.
Yeah.
Lately, let's say in the last, I know you smoke like every couple months. What was the last flavor profile that you found that you was like shocked you? Was it yours or was it something new that you had in the garden you were testing out?
Oh, the Gelato 33.
Okay.
The Gelato 33. That was my last one I really liked because I liked it Gelato 45. I really love gelato. Like I really think that's a strain for me and what I do and everything. I really love it. I can't lie about it. It's a great strain for me.
It's an all-around winner. It's an
It
all-around winner
is.
from bag
Right.
appeal to yield to ease of grow. It's just an all-around winner.
I don't know about ease of grow because 33 is kind of fun. That
33 be
motherfucker.
acting crazy.
Little
Not
finicky.
crazy. It just kind of it don't stack like that. It ain't no big yielder or nothing. You know
Okay.
what I mean? But it's good to like what I did with it. That's why I did what I did. I crossed it to a stacking ass mill, and then I'm
Right.
Mhm.
gonna cross that to some other shit with gelatos in it. You know what I mean? Fine
Right.
mine.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a
Perfecting the
method to the
Now,
genetic.
madness.
now, I remember you did you were doing the one cola test. How's that coming so far? Am I saying that right?
Oh yeah, that one note and flip shit. Well,
One
that was only
node
a
and
couple of
flip,
days
excuse
ago.
me. Right.
We got
Okay.
some time. We'll be monitoring that. I'll keep everything updated.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Frosty, you ain't gonna like it.
I hope I don't.
Yeah, you're not gonna like it.
Like
It's
I'm
mad
keep I'm
extra.
keeping it real with you. The thing,
Yeah.
the shit I be doing is for people to stop trying things that they hear other people lying to them about.
Right.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
trying to prove these myths. Like even when I started
Yes.
a long time ago, I was telling everybody tap water, tap water, tap water. Oh, what's in
Mm-hmm.
my cloner? You got it, tap water. Look
Mm-hmm.
at the roots. You know what I'm saying?
I
So I'm trying to give people the game for nothing.
mm-hmm.
Just give it to them. Just let them know, like this shit ain't. The realer you be, man, you get your rewards back. So it's like it ain't no reason to lie to nobody, man. I'm trying to do this
Exactly.
one node shit, so don't nobody else go fucking up their time, wasting their time doing that shit. But
I, I
if it works, it works. But we'll see. Like I said, we're gonna see. I want to do it for myself also.
I tried it, and uh I'm gonna say that I definitely yielded less because they pull way too much off the bottom. If you ask me, is some things that, because if you're gonna be pulling leaves anyway throughout flower, then some of those ones that were on the bottom would have winded up developing into something that was actually pretty decent. Another thing I didn't like about it was the amount of work that went into it, and the fact that they one node then flipped. Like they don't give it a week to recover. They don't give it anything. It's just basically strip everything from the bottom all the way up to one node on the top of each branch, and then let them go from there. Now, they also don't tell you that that works well in rock wool when you're sea of greening. So if you're in 5 gallon pots and you think you're going to one node and flip when you got 12 tops, you're
I would
also
never do
about to
that.
get you're also about to get a massive amount of stretch that'll probably grow past your light or into your light, and you're going to wind up with all sorts of new issues. So they were never really specific about the one node and flip. So I tried it in every method you can think of, and I found it better to just day 14 lollipop, pull leaves as you need to, get a massive yield. And
What
that's what worked
what
best
you
for me.
just said, what you just said is the problem I have with all the cannabis content creators.
Hmm.
No one gets into some fucking specifics. No one.
No one. And
Nobody
that's what
says
bothers me.
shit.
That's what bothers me. No one says it. It's just like, hey, if you get this DLI and you get this monitor and you give it this nutrient right here, you're gonna get 3.5 a light. Like, wait a second, how many lights am I running in my
And then
room?
move on.
What
Next
type of
question.
yeah. What type of space am I filling in by this? Is this a 4x4 canopy? Is this a 5x5 canopy? What strain do I have to run in order to hit these kind of numbers? What type of environment do I need to hit these kind of numbers? Do I need higher humidity? Do I need higher temperatures? They don't go into any of this. They just tell you, hey, get this monitor right here to control your room from your phone. Uh get some RO water, get Veg Plus
Use their
Blue.
code.
Yeah,
And
Use
it
their
use
all
their
code.
boils
code.
back down to a product.
It goes
Yep.
back
It
down to a
all
product
boils
every
back
time.
down to a
Yo,
product.
when I posted my picture of my roots and I was like, hey, tap water tech. And I'm like, yo, this is nothing but tap water, can of A and can of B with some Epsom salt. People inboxed me and was like, bro, you're lying. You're not going to tell me that you don't use any microbes and you got roots like that. I'm like, bro, I promise you that I don't use any microbes and I got roots like this. I don't use not a drop of microbes. I'm in a synthetic medium. There's no point in me using microbes when I know that I'm also using enzymes. That's not going to work. The enzymes are constantly going to keep on killing off the microbes, so I'm going to have to replenish the microbes. They're never going to be able to build a colony to do what microbes need to do. I know what microbes do. I have a food forest. You're not going to tell me that I don't know about mycelium. I don't know about microbes. I don't know about any of this. I'm an herbalist. This is what I live by. I'm telling you that if I'm in synthetics and I'm using canazyme and I'm using all sorts of enzymes, I'm killing off the microbes as I'm trying to replenish the microbes. And if microbes never get a chance to build the actual colony, it doesn't work the way that microbes need to. And if you're using tap water, there's also things in tap water that makes the microbes disappear. It kills off the microbes. You can't afford to have microbes in tap water. You could wind up with E. coli and all sorts of other problems. That's the reason that they use what they use inside of tap water, because you can't afford for fungus and bacteria to build up in tap water. So if you're using tap water, you also don't want to be using microbes because you're killing off the microbes as you're trying to
So,
build the colonies.
so the microbes are really for the RO water then.
It's for the RO water. It's for the or outdoor, because outdoor you get rain that purifies things, and the rain also has properties to it that people don't talk about. The rain carries properties that actually help to build the microbes. So when it's underground and your water is only hitting the top maybe 1 or 2 feet, maybe I'm being nice by saying 1 or 2 feet into the ground, then it'll work great outdoor because you still got a whole mycelium colony that's going to live under there. It's going to build regardless to what. But when you're in a pot that is limited on the amount of medium that you're going to be able to use, then no, you are actually wasting your time unless you're in no-till using RO water. If you're using tap water, I promise you it's going to kill off any bacteria that's inside of your medium, because you can't afford to have bacteria. It's the same reason that they pasteurize your drinks, because if they don't pasteurize your drinks by running them through radiation, you deal with E. coli. That happens. It actually happened to an apple juice company. They were making apple juice. They wanted to make something organic that they didn't pasteurize for people that wasn't radiated. And then a whole bunch of people popped up with E. coli because of it. And they made it a law afterwards that to make a drink, you have to pasteurize it because you have to kill off the bacteria.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that they're doing with the water. It's the same thing that's going to happen with your tap water. So it's going to kill it off. Now, if you're in no-till, it may keep on rebuilding, but you're never going to get what you would have got outdoor,
Mm.
where you got unlimited amount of space in the ground, where the tap water is probably only going into the first 1 or 2 feet, and then the mycelium is able to build underneath it with the worms and the bugs and all of that. That's going to help it in the bottom of it, but your first 2 feet is nothing, and that's why your roots reach deeper in order to reach that bacterial colony. That's how this works. This is another specific they don't get into when they start teaching you about no-till and the rest of this shit. And the reason that they don't get into it is because they don't know it. They learn no-till from the cannabis community. They didn't learn no-till from an actual grower who grows things outside of cannabis. But it's all marketing for them. So they want you to go buy Power SI. They want you to buy Mammoth P. They want you to buy all of these other microbe things that are out there. And really, they're not necessary. Brew you a tea.
King,
Feed,
explain to me what is Power SI.
I have
I got
no
a,
idea. It
I got
seems
a
like a
free
chemical if
sample
you
of that.
ask me. It seems like a
Yes,
chemical if you ask me. It doesn't
it
seem like
killed
It's a
anything
everything
organic
I
different
that can
had.
type
deal
of
with microbes.
silica. It's a different type of silica that's readily available as soon as the plant gets it.
But raw NPK nutrients got a silica that does the exact same thing for half the price.
Hey, I'm just copying what the dude told me. I don't know. That's what he told me. No, that's not monosilicate. This is this potassium
There's a
silicate. And
potassium silicate, and
okay,
raw
okay.
raw NPK nutrients will sell you a whole pound of potassium silicate for like $22.
I used
And it,
silica for like 3 years, and I was like, damn, I'm wasting my money, man. I cut that shit out and didn't see no difference.
no difference. No,
I
and I
mean, you're
did the
gonna,
same thing.
because what's silica for? To build, strengthen the cell walls, right?
Yep.
Make the plant stronger, but you're gonna support the plant anyway, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
To me, the only time you should be using silica is if you're dealing with PM problems and you can't control your environment, because the silica will change the pH of the leaf and
But you got to
mold.
spray it on there.
Exactly. It is
But they
better
don't say
used as a
that. You
foliar.
know what I mean?
It's better
Nobody
used
says
as a
that.
foliar. It's better used as
Right.
a foliar than it is used as something that you're going to feed
People
into your
telling
soil.
people keep telling half the story, man.
Exactly, because it's all a selling point for them, and they don't know this information that I'm telling. You know what it is, and even if they know it, they don't want to be honest about it because they've been doing it their way for so long. They don't want to say what they did was wrong. I'm not afraid to say what I was doing was wrong because I was basing it off of what I learned from somebody else. But when I actually took the time out to study it for myself, there was a massive difference of information between the two things. People got to remember the cannabis community is very small compared to agriculture. This is what Medi Cropper was talking about the other day when he said that Philips is the biggest lighting company in the world, and the rest of these LED companies that specifically stick to cannabis, they're nothing compared to the biggest lighting companies of the world. It's a major difference between the two. You're specifically going for the 15% of the community. The rest of them are going for 100% of the community. So the Philips bulbs are used from everywhere between the cannabis industry to anywhere in the agricultural industry to home industries. Like
Yeah,
most of the light bulbs in the house is also Philips.
I heard good things about Philips. I mean, they everywhere. They fuck with lights for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. And they always have. Like Philips bulbs have always been the creme de la creme. And that's just what it is. I hate that they never tell the full parts of these stories. Like you need to tell the full story so people can make an evaluation on whether or not they want to do this. I don't want to tell people like, yo, this is what I do and you should do the same thing and you could get the same results I got. No, we in different circumstances. We might be on different parts of the planet. You might be in a tent, I might be in a room. You might have 2 lights, I might have 8 lights. Things are gonna go
I just
very differently.
the only thing I do, if you ask me a question, I'm gonna be blunt and honest with you. Somebody
Yep.
asked me today, "Hey, do you use any microbes?" No. Do you use a
No.
bokashi? I heard a lot about bokashi. I'm good on that.
Can I say something about Bokashi real quick? Something else they don't tell you is that when Bokashi begins to break down raw materials, that's food for fungus gnats that it's making. So you'll notice if
Hell
you're
yeah.
using Bokashi, you also are going to deal with a massive amount of fungus gnats. Then you're going to have to
You
use
ever
sand.
not wash
And if
your
you
dishes for a day?
forget about it. Forget about it.
Shit.
And you know what? I've been using Bokashi since before other people because if you have a dog kennel or something and you have grass, in order to get rid of the smell of the urine, you're gonna have to use Bokashi. That's the only thing that could break down the scent of the urine that comes from the dog. Because you can get rid of all the dog shit you want to. That piss smell, you're not gonna be able to get rid of. Bokashi is the only thing that could get rid of it, but it's also gonna bring a massive amount of fungus gnats because it's gonna breed a bacteria that the fungus gnats feed off of. So if
Yeah.
you're indoor and you're using Bokashi on your pots or something, I promise you, you're going to deal with fungus gnats. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because the bokashi is literally making food for the fungus gnats. They're going to smell it. They're going to come right to your pots. They're going to breed. They're going to eat your roots. Then you're going to deal with issues. They don't tell you the rest of this.
Yeah, I'm not interested in none of that type of stuff. I'm not interested in like making garbage disposal shit. That's garbage disposal
No,
shit to me.
no. And you also don't want to turn your garden into a garbage disposal. They also make it seem like, yo, throw banana peels and the rest of this into it. And if you have bokashi, that's good. No, go get a bokashi bucket. Add the bokashi to the bokashi bucket with a little bit of agave. You don't want to use sugar because sugar is an unnatural product and it'll kill off your microbes. You want to use something like agave or real bees honey. You don't want to use a hybrid bees honey. You want to use real bees honey. Or you might want to use some kind of sweetener in order to make you a nutrient. But to think that you're just going to add bokashi to your actual soil and think that you're going to do something good, no, you're going to bring fungus gnats into your garden and it's going to kill them. They also don't tell you that stinging nettle. They talk about sand for fungus gnats. They talk about mosquito. What is it? The dunks. The what's the dunks? The beetle dunks or whatever they use.
I don't know what you talking about right now.
They use
The dung.
the dung or the it's
Yeah,
the beetle
the
dung,
beetle
right?
dung. Yep,
The beetle
beetle
dung.
dung. Yep.
Okay, they tell you that, but if you use stinging nettle will literally kill off your fungus gnats like it's nothing. Stinging nettle is a super deterrent for fungus gnats, but
What
they
is it?
don't know any. Stinging nettle is a plant, and if you walk
Oh, it's
past
a
it,
plant.
you'll actually be able to see, like, they call it stinging nettle because the nettle when it gets on you, it almost looks like needles. So they call it stinging nettle. If you use stinging nettle inside of your soil when you build it, you'll never, ever, ever have to deal with fungus gnats because they cannot stand stinging nettle, like at
Does
all at
it
all.
so this stinger nettle stuff, how does it operate? Does it have to be like it's dead, right?
Yeah, you harvest it like a regular plant, dry it out, and then once you add it to your soil, the fungus gnats will smell it and they won't go nowhere near your soil. But
So why is
stinging
people
nettle,
not using that in their soil? What's
because they
the
don't know anything about this, because they don't know anything about plants outside of cannabis. Stinging
got
nettle
you.
will Stinging nettle is also good for your hair. It'll make your hair grow like no tomorrow. Stinging nettle is also good for your gut bacteria to help build gut bacteria. They don't know about plants outside of cannabis.
Yeah,
So they
they're
can
not
only
even
tell
focused.
you what they can only, they're organic, they're no-till guys. They make cover crops, but they have absolutely no idea what to do with other plants that can go in your garden. So they'll tell you use beetle dunks, root drench them, stop watering so much. No, just add stinging nettle to your soil when you're making your super soil, and you'll never have to deal with fungus gnats. And you
Gotcha.
could buy stinging nettle right off of Amazon for like $14 for a pound of it. Add 2 or 3 pounds to your mixture when you're making it. Not only does it turn into nutrients for your plants because it's a high source of copper, and copper actually activates not only the flavonoids, copper actually activates the defense mechanism of the plant. It'll start to uptake it as it breaks down, but it'll also keeps fungus gnats out of your garden. But they don't
Wow.
know anything about this. I
Yeah, I
try to
don't. I
stay
didn't know
out of
nothing
this.
about that either.
I try to
That's
stay out of
information
it because
they don't share.
I'm not an organic gardener. I don't do no-till indoors, so I try to stay out of these subjects. But when I listen to them, I'm like, yo, they don't know anything outside of cannabis. All they
Yeah.
know is what to do for these no-till beds because it's what Brown Guy 420 showed them, and then it's what Joshua Steinsland showed them. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with either of them. Both of them are great growers. They know what they know, but they don't
But
know
King,
enough about other plants in order to incorporate this shit. Go ahead, 813.
yeah. So nothing is really organic unless you leave it alone and let it do what it do on its own.
Talk about it.
You feel me?
Yeah,
So what
organic
we
is
do,
misleading.
correct, King. It is, you know. So when people say, "Oh, I'm using this and it's 100% it," okay, but you're still not organic because you're placing this in there. It's not doing it naturally. This bug comes here and dies and breaks down, and this bug comes and eats, and this bug crawls here and keeps this bug away. This smell, this trace. You
Mm-hmm.
know, nature does its own.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing, we're playing God. We're playing tricks to
We're playing God the second that we start growing with synthetic light
correct.
indoor. As the second
Exactly.
you're growing
So
with synthetic light indoor, you're no longer organic, you're no longer all natural. You're dealing with the
exactly.
circumstances that you have to deal with. You might have to add Epsom salt into the mixture of your soil when you're growing indoor if you're doing LEDs. You don't have to
And
add
you know
Epsom
me.
salt to your garden outdoor.
Exactly. And you know me, and I have to because I'm building my soil, say 100% cocoa, and I build it up with
Exactly.
my dry amendments. So I'm
Exactly.
already knowing that I'm playing God.
Exactly.
So,
And there's nothing wrong with it. Just admit it. So when people
oh,
decide to
yeah,
follow you and
exactly.
go by the regiment that you're going by, they know for a fact that, okay, he's dealing with the circumstances that he has to deal with growing indoor. Don't say that
That's
this is
why I know
100% organic.
right. That's why I don't say it's all organic. I just say I'm doing no-till because that's as
Exactly.
organic as I can get when I'm doing my
Indoor.
bed. Because yeah, because I show from start to finish. I build my soil and you see the results. So
I'm dealing
yeah,
with the
that's
circumstances that I have to deal with.
right.
Jordan Williams just asked 813, you build your own cocoa mix? And if so, what are some of the amendments that you use in your cocoa mix when you're building your what size pots do you use? To talk a little bit about the way you do your no-till.
My no-till, I have 18-gallon pots, 25-gallon pots outside that I build from the beginning of the grow.
Mm-hmm.
And from when I build my soil, I already put that outside and have it start cooking, start getting amendment with the earth and everything out there, all the ants and all of like I have earthworms in there, let them get adjusted, the cover crop on there. When I build my soil, I use down to earth. So I'm using the alfalfa meal,
Mm-hmm.
oyster shells,
Mm-hmm.
phosphorus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using green sand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using hella kelp. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all
Okay, wait. Before you even move
yes,
any further, I'm not sure. Talk about kelp for a minute. I know you know about kelp. Go ahead.
correct. Yeah, kelp. Anything green helps your plant. So kelp is just like having if you don't have cover crop and your plant is yellowing, and you don't have Epsom salt and
Mm-hmm.
magnesium, you use
Mm-hmm.
kelp for growth,
And
for
it's also a
vegetation.
all natural PGR.
Exactly. All natural, just beautiful. You can use that through your grow, but you don't want to use it in flower. You just whatever's in the soil, you just let that go. But
Exactly. Wait.
yeah,
Don't skip past
correct.
that because we always talk about not giving enough information. Why don't you want to use it in flower?
Because you don't want the plant to keep producing leaves. You want it to start focusing on producing the buds, you producing trichomes.
And you don't want
Because
it
if
to get so rock hard that
correct,
it
if you
loses some
can't
of the
even
other features that could come along with it.
correct to get too dense,
Hmm.
then it's just unbearable to smoke, unbearable to break down.
Yes. It'll still
So
burn black if you're using way too much kelp
yes,
during flower.
correct. So that's
It'll,
why you build your soil depending on how much soil you're using. I
hmm
start off with the gallons. Start off with 18 gallons, so I use a cup and a half of everything that I put inside in there. I'll definitely, if you're on Instagram, DM me and I'll give you a list of what I'm using. Off the top of my head, that's what I mainly use.
hmm
Also some bag guano, but when I'm going into flour, I do use a little bit of seabird guano to help it pass over from the stretch.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's all depending on your genetics that you're using too.
hmm But seabird guano is high in potassium and phosphorus, so it will stop it
Correct.
from stretching. Giving it too much nitrogen during the beginning stages of flower is what's going to cause it to keep on stretching. You're giving it a massive amount of nitrogen. And for the first week, I don't even switch over to bloom nutrients. For the first week, I still keep them. Well, when you run in Canada, there is no veg and bloom nutrients. There's only one nutrient that you use. So what I do is I don't start adding my raw phosphorus until week 2 because I want them to stretch. I want them to fill out that net. I want them to be able to fill out the space that I need them to fill out. So for the first week, I don't start hitting them with none of the bloom boosters or nothing. I wait until the second week so I could get that full first week of good stretching, good node development. A lot of the tops begin to stretch out. That's
You
what I do for the
said
first.
something, not to cut you off, King. You
Go ahead.
said something that a lot of people needed to hear. I don't scrog. And when people scrog, they wonder why it doesn't fill out because they don't get enough veg and they don't let it stretch. They
Mm-hmm.
cut the stretching. So if you put the plant in at 2 feet, it's supposed to flip to at least 4 feet for you
Mm-hmm.
to have all the potential that you're supposed to get out of that plant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you stop it from going to where it's supposed to be, then you're already cutting your yield short.
Yep.
So that's what a lot of people don't understand that about that scrog and that you have to
Yeah,
veg. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frosty.
yeah, I like what you said about that, and that was one of the things that make me irritated by keep on like moving it around and stretching it, weaving it through, and it really just like blocks all the light from getting anywhere below that trellis.
Yep.
I kind of like just setting the trellis out and letting it go straight up through a square. Like
Straight
just
up.
put a node through a square. Don't put two in one square. Just move it over like that. But other than that, it looks better and it's more filled out from top to bottom if you let light penetrate down there. If you just
Mm-hmm.
cut it off, that's kind of like it's weird. Every time I tried to do that and cut it off, the yield was not there.
That's a fact.
And I just let it grow. And like I was talking to you, and I was like, when you gonna put some trellis on there? He was like, man, I took too long. And it's like, you didn't take too long. All you got to do is just put a big 6-inch square net trellis over it, and
Yep.
just have some support. That's it.
Yep. Where I messed up is I still went and put the 3.5-inch trellis over it afterwards, and that just made my life a living hell. What I normally do is I try to have the 3.5 net filled out by the time that I'm hitting day 1. And then from day 1 to day 7, I just let them go. I don't weave nothing through because it already filled out before I even.
Yeah. What happened to you? Everybody gone?
No, I'm here, King. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, I don't know. Stain must have went off.
Yeah. All right. Let me back to asking you questions now.
What's the questions? Any questions?
Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Now if you had we already talked about your perfect tense on the inside, right? Now let's say if this was a perfect day and age, um, where would your ideal grow be? Would it be a outside? Would it be a light depth? Would it be a greenhouse? Would it be a indoor? What would be your
I'll tell
ideal?
you right now, it will be a fully automated light depth greenhouse. Fully automated though. That means automatic timers coming on, coming up. If it get too hot, the sides roll up, everything. And it'll all be screened in so can't nothing fly inside.
And I
Sunlight.
seen what you did in that greenhouse.
Sunlight,
Oh
man.
man.
Can't beat the
You
sun.
can't beat that. You can't beat it. Oh,
Can't beat the
that's why I
sun.
love you, kid. You can't beat the sun, man. That's what I tell people. As more simple as you can keep it, you're gonna get the best results from it. Yeah, you're gonna get some excellent results from indoor, but if you grow outside, man, and you just let that thing be, you'll have something more fire than indoor, man. If people don't understand, man, you get different resin glands than indoor than you get outdoors, and that outdoor be hitting. That
Yeah,
outdoor put you on your ass, man. They don't be, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like I said, the new school is all about that. We about that bag appeal, but we know that fire. You know what I'm saying? You could look at something that don't look too frosty. You look at something hella frosty, and that shit that don't look too frosty gonna put you on your ass ASAP.
All
Two
the
hits, you
time. Every
done.
time I had some trees that didn't really like get all frosty and shit, that
Yep.
shit was fire.
Fire, man.
Fire, man. Something
I'm
about it.
telling you, yeah, tell you something with heavy trichomes is like Red Bull. It just give you wings real quick, boom,
Yep.
and you're
Yep.
done. You're done. Your
Yep.
5 hours is over right then and there. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
30 minutes later, you firing back up.
You fire back up even sooner than that, especially if you smoking in a group.
Yeah.
You're turning right back up. Yeah, man. You go through a
Jordan
lot of
Williams said
trees.
at Sun Spectrum, we only trying indoor, recreate the outdoor anyway. So shouldn't that be the benchmark quality product? The benchmark quality product is actually, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Greenhouse, fully automated light dip with the sun. That's the best weed you're gonna smoke because
I'm
you're not
telling
getting the
you.
dust from the outside, you're not getting the bug problems, you're not getting nothing but quality from the sun. You know, sun god, you know how they praise the sun? Yeah, everything praise the sun. That's what's gonna happen. Oh, your phone died, Beast Coast? Let me check my motherfucking percentages. I'm at 8% too. Shit. Let me plug in, man. But yeah, that's what I really strive for, man. About 10 acres, two big ass light depth
Ooh,
greenhouses.
I can
I'll be
see it
fine with that.
already.
I'll be fine with that. I wish I could do it here. I got some room to put one, but still in the neighborhood, so I can't. I
Right,
wish
right,
I
right,
could. I
right.
wish I
I
could.
understand. I understand, King. Yes,
Man,
yes,
but
I
that's
understand,
it
man.
though. But my next greenhouse next year, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna improve on that one, take the plastic off because it's all ripped up. But before I put the plastic on, I'm gonna put a borders around the sides, and I'm gonna put a screen on there, like a screen door screen. I'm gonna put screens on there, and I'm gonna close the outsides and make screen doors. So I'm gonna make sure it's gonna be bug proof. Ain't no bugs getting in there and flying around. No caterpillars. We ain't having that next year.
Right, right, right,
You know,
right.
and then put like
Now,
some figure out a fan to exhaust the heat, like kind of do something a little more
w-
technical next year,
well, I
improve
mean,
on it.
at the top you could put those square exhausts.
I
You
can't
know,
put no,
saying,
I can't do that at the top of the plastic though. I'm not messing with that
okay,
plastic.
okay, all right. I didn't really see how it was built. I thought you could
Yeah,
put it on the frame. It was built like 2x4. You know how you can stick it because the way I'm gonna send you the picture of the one that I
yeah. See,
built
the wooden ones,
and
the
show
wooden
you.
ones are different.
Right.
The
Okay.
wooden ones
I
you could
got you now.
easily have some. You could build a little frame out, attach the plastic, and you fine. But with the PVC, you can't really do that. And those are pretty cool. But what I was gonna do is just put fans like exhaust fans on each side of each side of it, each side of the
Okay.
ends, and
Uh-huh.
just suck air from that side, and then open up the sides. Open up the sides and suck a little air in out that's fine. It'll work because the plants like it. It could be 90 degrees in there. The plants is happy as fuck.
They love it, bro.
They
They
love that
love
shit.
it.
That's something about that
They love
greenhouse,
it.
the way it be feeling in there. They fine.
They love it, man, because just like you were saying before, like some plants may not like to be next to each other, but when you get that right temperature, when you get them in that right environment, no matter what, they will thrive. And when you show yours, oh my gosh, bro, them
Yeah, I
leaves
was
is
looking at that video
beautiful,
today.
bro.
Like, dang, I
Yeah,
can't wait.
Can y'all hear
beautiful,
me?
bro. Oh, we
Yep.
can hear you now, Ken.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, my bad.
Oh, good. We didn't know what happened, bro. I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah, no, the goddamn phone died. That's the reason. Even though I like the quality that comes along with the 4K footage, I'm like, damn, my phone gonna die. Yeah,
Oh,
Gotta plug him up.
yeah, I
yeah.
know. I kept
All right.
on
Well,
unplugging it and
since we
plugging it
got
throughout
you
the whole
here,
thing.
before you disappear again, I was asking about your ideal environment to grow. We already know about your indoor temperatures,
Hmm.
so would you choose outdoor, like that, greenhouse, or you know
That's
anything
it.
else? What?
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah.
I would prefer outdoor, but what I like about greenhouses, I get a little bit more control than I would if I strictly did outdoor. But I don't care what nobody say. Outdoor is gonna be the best shit you ever gonna smoke. I always say it that when I
Correct.
do my outdoor, ain't nobody getting shit. I don't care who you are, you ain't getting none of this outdoor. This is going straight to the lungs, like because it's the best. It got the best taste. It got the best smell. It got the best of everything. And normally, if you're doing outdoor, you're doing organics. Like 9 out of 10 chance if you're doing outdoor, you're doing organics. Like I've had no-till beds that are now, I think maybe 5 years old, something like that, 5 or 6 years old. They are amazing, and I don't have to do anything to them anymore other than water them. Like I add
Exactly.
worms
It's
every year
nature.
just because I want to. Like every year I add
Correct.
a little bit more worms just because I want to, but I don't have
Just
to
to help
top
them out.
dress. Yeah, I don't have to top dress anymore. I don't have to add any amendments anymore. And since I'm using the smart, basically smart pot beds, once they fill out what's in the beds, they'll reach right through to the beds afterwards and go right into the ground. So I
Yeah, they'll keep
also,
going. Even in the
yes,
bags, they go into the ground though. I did the bags and the roots just bust through the holes in the bags and just digging in the ground.
exactly. So
Yes.
so I also
Yes.
I never rake my leaves. I never do any of that. I let that die back in place because when I'm adding worms and I'm letting bugs live, that's food for them right there. So I'm not going to be raking that up. I'm not going to be mowing no lawns. And if I do mow any of the grass that's around the beds, I leave it right there. Now
I
on the
wanna
indoors, go ahead, Frosty.
I wanna do beds. I wanna do beds. I wanna try it out. But the only thing I'm thinking about is like, what if I get root aphids in there?
Outdoor,
Yeah.
I've never dealt with root
Yeah,
aphids
I've never
before.
seen that outdoors.
I've
I
never
never
Frosty.
seen
seen
root
root
aphids.
aphids in my life, period. But
Me
Right.
I'm
neither.
just saying, I'm just saying, it got me kind of spooked. Like, what would I have to do to get rid of something lying in that soil? Like to me, it's just way better mentally to just start fresh, regroup, new soil, new plants. Let's get it started. Because then I know I'm not leaving nothing to chance for the next run. You know what I mean?
See, but
Right.
outdoor, they got there's so many predators outdoor. There's so many things outdoor that eliminate those kind of issues that you wouldn't want to bring indoor. Like you wouldn't want to bring natural predators indoor. I don't care what no one says.
No,
Like,
I know
oh,
what you mean,
Correct.
but like the way I'm trying to build my greenhouse, I don't want, and I'm not trying to see no predators or pests in it.
you won't. You won't. I promise you,
But
you
but
won't.
Frosty,
I don't see any bugs in my beds outdoor. Like I don't have to deal with anything. Like every now and then I may see a grasshopper or two, and it's not enough of them that it's a problem. Know what I'm saying, like I can catch them and send them somewhere if I want to, but it's never enough of them that it's a problem. I never
Yeah,
had to deal
right.
with a fungus gnat issue. I never had to deal with no root aphids, no nothing, because there's bugs that's underneath that cover crop that you killed or the hay that you laid, whatever you choose to protect your soil from the sun. Depending on what you use, I promise you, there's things underneath there that no pest wants to deal with. If they decide to get underneath that layer that you have covering your soil, I promise you, they're gonna run into so many issues. If they don't run, they're dead.
mm.
I've never had no type of infestations. I've never even had spider mites outdoor.
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
I
Correct.
don't know if
That's
they can
correct.
live, but because as soon as
I
something
think
smells that, there's
I
food
think
right
where you
there.
at, the pest ain't prevalent like that because that's not like a
Yes,
known place for a
yes.
cannabis crop.
Because even when it's hot here, it's not hot compared to where you are, or
Yeah,
where
but see
813
where
is.
I'm
Like
at,
my level of hot
I'm
ain't
good.
y'all levels of hot. Like y'all get spicy. Like
Yeah.
if it hits 95 where I'm at, they shut the entire state down. Like they tell you not to go outside. That's the days I'm tanning. Like when they say, "Oh, it's gonna be 102 today. You guys don't want to go outside. You guys are gonna want to wear sunblock." That's when me and my wife decide to go outside and do some tanning.
Gotcha.
But that's rare. That's like 3 days out of the whole summer.
Yeah, we'll have weeks like that.
Oh yeah, we never have
Yeah.
a week like that. Like maybe late August, you might get some high humidity where they'll say, okay, the temperature is 89, but it feels like 105. It's not
Yeah.
actually
It
105.
just
It's
hit
just high
48.
humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
People
just
were
high
screaming
humidity.
about it. I was like, y'all don't know cold.
Yo, I be out there so normal. Like people be looking at me like, bro, what are you doing outside? It's mad hot. I'm like, bro, this shit feels amazing. And my plants are praying. Like in that type of weather, my plants are praying like they are the happiest they've ever been during the hottest temperatures that humans can't understand. And I've
For
still
sure.
never dealt with no
They love
bugs.
that shit.
Yeah, I've still never dealt with no bugs. I still never dealt with no light bleaching. I still never dealt with no heat problems, no nothing. They take it just perfectly, and they got less CO2 than we're giving them indoor when they're dealing with way less temperature. They're dealing with 83 max, 84 max indoor, and we're giving them 1150 ppms of CO2. They getting 450 ppms of CO2 outdoor, and they dealing with 105-degree temperatures like it's nothing. As
The
long as
shit
you
don't
got
add up, man. It
yeah,
don't add up.
as long as you
Nope.
got them watered, they are thriving outdoor. Like they are thriving. I don't care if you in pots, beds, in the ground, whatever, they are thriving.
Yep. Just make sure you got enough water on them. That's all. You can have them. You can have
Yeah.
the outdoor wet. You can have
Yeah,
that wet. You ain't got to worry
yeah,
about it. Wet that shit every day. They're gonna be just fine.
yeah,
And
because it's so hot
that
that
shit gonna
that shit's
dry
gonna
out.
evaporate. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
evaporate.
It's gonna dry out so perfect. And even if it don't dry, it's gonna keep going down. It ain't gonna sit
Yes.
there.
And
That's a
if you're in a
perfect
dry
pot.
climate, oh my God, they are gonna love the fact that you drenched them the day before it got way too dry.
Yeah.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna absolutely love it. You don't have to deal with that type of shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
but bugs is gonna be the last thing you have to worry about in beds
Yeah.
outdoors. So if you want to put beds in your greenhouse, I'm telling you, go for it because bugs is the last thing that you're gonna have to deal with. That is the very last thing you're gonna have to deal with. There are
And
not gonna
frosting.
there aren't gonna be any bugs.
Nah.
Yeah.
It
How
ain't.
deep? How
Everything
deep
in there
should
is
I
gonna
go?
eat each other.
How deep should I go with the beds? Like a
With
I
foot?
the
got
beds. How
well, I
tall
bought
how much room you working with?
Oh man, I don't want to say right now.
yo Frosty,
All
I'm
right, I
telling
got
you,
you.
it's so cheap to go to Build the Soil. That's the website. And look at the beds that they got. They got 4x8 beds. They got 4x16 beds. They got 4x32 beds. And they're so cheap because they just send you the actual material that the beds are made out of, and they let you go buy the PVC. So they're not going to send you the PVC and the beds. They're going to send you the couplings for the PVC. So they'll send you where the middle section needs to go. They'll send you for where the corner sections need to go. They'll give you those parts of the PVC. You just
See,
got
this
to
what I gotta.
actually,
But where I'm at, like, okay, so every region different. Where I'm at,
yeah.
I got gophers.
Ain't
So
no
I gotta
gophers getting in there. They ain't getting through that bed. I got
really,
groundhogs. I've never had to deal with it. And if you
really.
got dogs, I promise you, ain't no groundhog coming nowhere near your shit. I promise you, because they're gonna
Oh yeah,
smell
he
your
got them dogs.
they're going to smell your dog's piss. They're going to smell your dog's shit. And they're going to know that there's a murderer over here. And I don't want
Well,
to
I
go
need to
over
start
here
bringing
because,
my dogs over here quick. Then.
yo, bro,
Yeah.
start letting them piss everywhere around that greenhouse. Start letting them mark their territory because
Yeah.
no animal is going to want. I don't deal with no animals. I don't even deal with birds. And I leave stuff for birds. Like I never harvest all of my crop because I know birds got kids that they got to feed. I know other animals got kids that they got to feed. So I never harvest all of my fruits and vegetables. I let the birds get some of them. The
Yeah.
birds are scared to come anywhere near my yard because they can smell the dog.
So that
Now
build a bed
frosty.
thing, would that be cheaper than just doing it out of wood?
Yeah, and it'll last longer.
Yeah, way longer. That wood after a while, you know, it's gonna deteriorate. It start bowing.
Oh, and if you're dealing with high humidity, I promise you it's going to break down even faster than what I have to deal with because it's dry where I'm at all year. And the wintertime, I'm talking about 0% humidity, zero outside, zero. And then during the summertime, we're talking about maybe 18% until you hit August. During August, you'll hit like 70-80% humidity, but it's like 3 or 4 weeks. And then after that, it's a wrap. It's going right back down to like no humidity. So if you buy those beds, they're gonna last you so long.
Man,
You
it's gonna be
you
a
gotta
lot
think,
of beds.
yeah,
Yeah, but Frosty. No, when I was asking, I mean, I was talking about height wise, not all the land. I was talking about the height, like to tell you how big of a bed you should have. But what I was gonna ask you,
Oh,
if you
height for the
had
greenhouse?
right, yeah,
Oh, just taller than me, about like 6'8", probably.
they'll be perfect. Just see a green it.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Just
why.
use more plants and don't worry about them getting as big because they got enough root space that even after they grow through that bed, they're gonna reach into the ground and they're still gonna be fine.
But now, Frosty, when you set up the new greenhouse and you know you don't want bugs in there, how you gonna what is your preventive measures that you're gonna do? Are you gonna change your clothes before
Screens,
you go in? It's just gonna
screen,
be the screens? Okay.
screens and neem oil.
Correct. That neem oil, that's what I wanted to hear. A lot of
Hell
people
yeah.
be like, oh, that
Yo,
neem oil be burning. Nah, man, cause
I don't want
nah.
to talk
you
about that
applying it
yet because we're
wrong.
gonna talk about a lot of stuff on Sunday.
Oh
Got you,
yeah.
got you, Ken. I got
And
you. All
something else, instead of neem oil, just grow neem. People forget that neem oil comes from a plant. And
It's
the
a plant,
plant,
yeah.
Correct.
yeah, and the plant is a neem plant. Just grow the neem plant. They won't come anywhere. I'm telling you, with stinging nettle growing and with neem growing, ain't no bug about to come nowhere near your garden. Your garden smells like death to them. Again, it was like what me and Frosty was talking about not long ago with terpenes. There's certain strains that release terpenes that smell like dead mosquitoes or dead flies. So flies don't want to come nowhere near your garden because the strain you're growing, that terpene smells like dead flies to them. Now, to us, it might smell like gas. To us, it might smell like papaya. To us, it might smell like something else. To a bug, this smells like death. It smells like their brothers and sisters dying. So they won't come anywhere near your garden because of
Yeah,
that. It
that
works
shit
the
is a
same.
trip.
It
That
works.
shit is wonderful, man.
It works the same exact way with plants. So even if you don't put them in your greenhouse, surround your greenhouse with these kind of plants. And not only
Yep.
will it
It'll
be
be a repellent.
beautiful, like aesthetically, it'll be beautiful because these plants still give a flower that still look amazing, smell amazing. You'll get used to that smell as you go out. But to other predators, this smells like death. They don't want to go anywhere near that greenhouse because they know they're gonna die if they go anywhere near this. Just like neem oil. Like if you spray neem oil, there's a bunch of bugs that are gonna leave. All the ones that lived, they're out of there. They know once you spray that, it's dead. So they know they're out of there afterwards. If you have the plant growing right there, I'm telling you, they're not coming nowhere near that.
That's something good to think about.
If you walked in the area and you smelled a bunch of dead bodies decaying, as a human, you're not gonna go anywhere
You're gonna
close.
turn around.
You're gonna turn around. The
Yeah.
bugs are smarter than we are. Animals are smarter than we are. They can sense a hurricane coming 3 days away. Your dog
Yeah,
will
they
start
turn it off.
tripping, running near the window. Something's wrong. All the birds leave. Like you'll notice all the birds are just leaving. You don't know why the birds is leaving. 2 days later, a tsunami hits. They seen that coming. Bugs are the same way. They know, well, not only did my cousins die over there, it still smells like death over there. I'm not going that way.
Yeah.
So you
Leo Show said cedar wood is ideal to build boxes, although expensive, plus it's another pest deterrent. You know about cedar wood?
Yes, cedar works great. I say it all depends on what area you in because some of these woods last better in like high humidity environments. So like when you're talking about redwood, if you're in California, of course you're going to want to use redwood. It's native to the
Yeah.
area. It's acclimated to the environment. If you're going to want to use cedar, cedar's more of an East Coast thing. Like cedar grows more on the East Coast than it does West Coast. So cedar will work better for anybody all along the East Coast, Northeast, Southeast. It'll work better over here.
That
In
makes a lot of
either,
sense.
yeah,
Because I see a
either,
lot of cedar style fences built on the East Coast.
yes, and
Over
you'll see a
over
lot of
here, cedar
redwood
is
being
like
used.
all our cedar is trash over here.
Yeah,
or it's
because
hella
it'll mold
expensive?
right away because we
Yeah,
got lower humidities over here to deal with. We don't
gotcha.
have the fogs coming over the mountains like sometimes in California. It's so beautiful to see the fogs covering the redwood forest. Like the only reason I want to come to California is to go to the redwood forest. Like that,
Yeah,
it
you'll
is a
love it.
dream. It is a dream of mine to go to that redwood forest and see 300-year-old trees. That
You'll
is
love it.
something that's amazing to me. Like that's really the highlight. Like most people want to go to California to smoke legal weed. I want to go to California just to go to the redwoods. Like that's a,
Hell yeah.
that's a dream of mine to go to those redwoods.
Yeah, I'm still trying to go back further up north and see more because
It's
Man,
it's
beautiful,
beautiful,
King.
man.
It's
Just being in
beautiful,
those
man.
little
yo,
forests,
but
just pull
then
off the
but
side of
then
the
the
It
freeway.
opens up your lungs, man.
But then to think they cut the biggest ones down. So even the largest ones that we're seeing today are just babies of the ones that were cut before.
And they'll never be the same again,
It'll
man.
never be the same because
It'll
they'll never let
never
them
be
get
the
that big
same.
again because
Yep.
between the fires that are never mind between the fires and the rest of the shit that's going on, they just keep getting burned out before they get a chance to get the size that they could actually get when we got here and found them. Like there was one that was
Press.
so big you can almost drive through it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
listen.
could.
Listen.
And that finally fell. I almost cried when I found out that that tree fell because I never got to see it before it fell.
Yeah,
Bro, listen to
there
this,
was
man.
no joke.
They had the first limb from the trees like 100 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
The first limb, bro. Come on, man.
You know
Can
That's
you
what really
imagine
put
that?
me when I seen Planet
huh?
of the Apes and I seen them escape to the redwood forest after I had already been looking at that redwood forest for so long. I'm like, yo, I have to go there. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like everybody else want to go to stupid places. I want to go to the places that mean something to me. I don't want to go to tourist attractions. I don't want to go where people say, oh, you have to get here. You got to go to Cancun. You got to go
Right.
to Jamaica. You got to go. My father lived in Jamaica for years and he lives in Mondeville up in the mountains where there's a waterfall that's like 20 feet away from him. And while you're sleeping, you just hear the waterfall all night
Rushing. Oh
long.
my
And I'm telling you,
God.
there's nothing like it. There's not, you can't
Well,
even compare that. I can't even explain that to you, what that sounds like,
well,
falling asleep to the sound of
well,
that waterfall
all
that's
this shit
right
has
down
been
the
shot.
street.
Hey guys, time for me to go.
All right. You
All
already
right.
know, Frosty.
Thank
Been
you so
good.
much for
Been
blessing
good
us
Yeah,
talking to
thank
tonight,
you.
y'all.
man.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us your
Uh,
knowledge and
See y'all
having
back
you on
on.
this stream.
Yeah, see you back on Sunday at 6 o'clock.
All right, fam.
All
Be
right, no
safe.
problem, man. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, man, those redwoods always attracted me. Those redwoods always kept
Yes.
my attention. It was just something about them that was just calling to me. Like a lot of people got a problem answering they calling. Like you might think your calling is stupid. You might think that it doesn't make any sense to anybody else. It doesn't have to make no sense to nobody else. If it's what makes you happy, do it.
Exactly. Sorry
I
about
never
that. Yes.
I never felt happier growing. Jordan Williams, what pyramid? You said you got to see the pyramid. What pyramid? Because most people want to go see the pyramids of Giza, and they don't even know that there's pyramids in Kush or Ethiopia and Sudan that are like 2 or 3 thousand years older than the ones at Giza. And thanks to the pyramid that Imhotep built, thanks to the pyramid that Pepi built, that's actually where the texts are that you're looking for. The pyramids of Pepi and the pyramid that Imhotep built. Those pyramids are way older than the ones that are in Giza. And then the pyramids that they have in the Americas are thousands of years younger than the ones that we have in Africa. So which pyramids are you talking about? They're all amazing. Don't get me wrong. The ones in Sumer are amazing. What would Sumer be today? That would be what they call the Middle East. That would be Iran. Or, what would that be today?
Yeah, that would be Iran, wouldn't it?
That'd be Iran. Yeah, I believe so. That would be ancient Sumer. But if you actually want to see where pyramids started, you're gonna have to go to Ethiopia and Sudan. And that's going to show you where they got the blueprint for the rest of the world to be able to build pyramids because it was based off of the science that was in the Kush Valley. The most people just they fantasize over Egypt, and Egypt is just a mouthpiece for the entire continent of Africa. Like, I hate when they say capoeira is Brazilian martial arts. Capoeira is not Brazilian martial arts. Capoeira is based off of Angolo, which is an African martial arts. But then when those Africans get taken to Brazil and they continue that martial arts, you get introduced to it in Brazil. And now you're giving Brazil the credit for capoeira, and capoeira actually comes from Africa. So it depends on which pyramids that you're talking about. The Americas are the fatherland and Africa is the motherland. America is so young. America is a baby compared to what Africa is. It's literally a baby. Like like, I don't know if you guys ever study Adam's calendar that's in South Africa, 100,000-year-old calendar, and celestial alignments that is lined up with lines directly with the pyramids at Giza. That's not by mistake. That's not by mistake. South Africa had the information first. The information from South Africa made it to Zimbabwe. From Zimbabwe, it made it up to Congo. From Congo, it made it to Kush. From Kush, it made it to Kemet or Egypt. From Kemet, it made it to Sumer. From Sumer, it made it to China. From China, it made it over to the Americas. So the Americas were the very last ones to be able to get that information. Sorry, off topic, but he brought it up and it made me talk about it. Yeah, man. So you guys already know I'm not going to keep y'all all night. Thank y'all for tuning in. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe to the channel, give me some thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever makes you feel better. Feel free to share this over to your Instagram. Feel free to share this over to the rest of your social medias. Get some other people involved in these conversations so they can ask questions and get some real talk answers. The reason that I made the Real Talk Cannabis podcast is for people to be able to get real talk answers. We're not going to sugarcoat nothing for you. We're not going to make anything so difficult that you can't understand it. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't have to deal with any of that. So I could be 100% about anything that I'm talking about. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. If something works, it works. And it's not because somebody paid me to tell you that it worked. It works because it works. I don't have any controllers in my room. I don't have any specific companies that I use for anything that I do. If I run a nutrient, it's because I run a nutrient. Like right now I'm running Canna, but tomorrow I'm getting ready to go ahead and get me some Floraflex, because Floraflex works just like Canna. It's a great nutrient, but I don't have to pay for the water anymore. So if I don't have to pay for the water, I'm not going to pay for the water. So I'll be switching over to Floraflex. Floraflex ain't paying me. Canna ain't paying me. I don't owe you guys any type of information. And if the Floraflex is trash, I'm going back to Canna. That's just how it works. That's why you guys need to be on the Real Talk Cannabis podcast. We'll have Frosty McNasty on here as often as we can, but definitely every Sunday, 6 p.m. Western time. We'll have 813 in almost every single stream that we got going on. And you guys go ahead and get Zoom, because if you have a problem with your grow, you can raise your hand in the Zoom and we could bring you in and we can actually see your grow. So you don't have to worry about just asking questions and we got to just come up with answers without seeing your grow. We can actually bring you into the Zoom. You can show off your grow and we can see what's going on. 813, go ahead and give them your information. You can find me on Beast Coast Grower 420 on Instagram or Beast Coast Grower 420 on YouTube. You guys are already here, so you know that. 813, go ahead and give them your information.
Right. You can find me on 813 Genetics on IG, 813 Genetics on YouTube, and 813 Genetics on Facebook. Like, just like you said, if you feel like reaching out to us, hit the Zoom or hit us in our DM. And if you have just a question, we can answer it in the next podcast coming up Sunday.
Yes.
Or if you want to wait and get into the Zoom chat with us so we can see your garden, get some tips from you, you get some tips from us. Let us know how you run your garden, show off your garden, because we love to see plants, veg to flower, from the whole process, start to finish.
Yes, and also we can say it on here because Instagram is tripping right now, but
Right.
cuts will be available soon, and you'll be able to get them from King Black 420 Beast Coast Grower 420, 813 Genetics. There'll be a few of us that you'll be able to acquire some of these cuttings that we're talking about from. So some of the genetics that we had to go through the trouble of being able to acquire, you guys don't have to pheno hunt through them if you guys just want keeper cuts. You'll be able to reach out to us. Don't look out for no cheap ass cuts, because we don't waste our time with that. If you're looking for cheap ass cuts, go to Dark Heart Nursery or somebody else and get you some $10 or $15 cuts and fuck your garden up. Feel free to do that. But if you reach out to us, be expecting to pay like you weigh, be expecting to get what your money is worth. So if you want to be cheap, I'm not the person that you want to reach out to. My circle is not the people who you want to reach out to. Don't reach out to Frosty McNasty for no cuts at all, because he's not giving them to you. Don't even ask him no questions. You're not getting shit.
Correct.
But
But you
that's
can,
just
but as you can see from his garden, what the cuts will produce for you.
yes,
So.
because he runs a lot of the gear that's in the same circle. So you guys drop a thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment. You already know.